If you like the story, you can support the author on Patreon. Link is in the description.
Chapter 1, The Beginning. Cold. I feel cold. I opened my eyes. I was laying on something white. Snow? Why am I laying in snow? Oh, you poor thing. You won't live for much longer. A girl. The voice of a young girl. Well, since you have come this far, it must be fate, and you have a sword-type sacred gear. Very well. In the name of Rias Gremory, I revive you as my knight. Now rise and live for my sake as my servant. I feel something entering my chest. I'm starting to feel sleepy. No, I still have questy. I find myself in a rundown room with many beds. Images start to show on the walls, like those old movie projectors. I see kids, lots of kids, and a nun. An orphanage? A church? Are these memories? They are not mine. On the images, I see the reflection in the mirror. A young boy with blue eyes and blonde hair. Isaiah, time for lunch, the nun calls out. Isaiah. I know that word. It's Hebrew for Savior or God's salvation, depending on the meaning. He must have been named by the people at the church. I see through his life. They were happy. They didn't have much, but they had each other. But then tragedy struck. Men from another church came and started doing tests on kids. The ones who tested positive were taken away. For the Holy Sword Project. Under the supervision of Viper Galilei. The children were experimented on. Something was being extracted from them. When they got what they wanted from the kids, the experiment was deemed a failure. It was decided to clean the test site. The children were poisoned via gas first, then burned to ashes. Isaiah's friends sacrificed themselves to stall the guards so he could escape. He ran as far as he could, but eventually succumbed to the poison. In his dying breath, he prayed to any deity listening to him. He didn't care for the price. He wanted revenge on those who killed his friends. The next thing was a surprise for me. Inside his mind, there was a cold voice. It sounded like something out of a horror movie. Are you willing to sacrifice your soul? Do you wish to kill them that much? Yes. Anything. Everything, young Isaiah screamed out in his mind. Very well. I shall take your soul and send a warrior to take revenge in your place. You may watch as he decimates those responsible. Isaiah's memories stop there. And mine begin. The church disappears and I appear back in one of my apartments. You have died in battle. You wished for a second chance at life. I'm giving it to you. The price is to take revenge on those that have wronged young Isaiah. Do you accept? The same cold voice asked me this time. This is a no-brainer. I'm not letting a second chance slip through my fingers. I can deal with the rest later. I agree. Very well. Here is information on this world. And who you must kill. As soon as the voice finished talking, I suddenly had access to new memories. It was a weird feeling. Like it just appeared inside my mind. A few hours later. Okay, I get the gist now. DxD world. Gods. Angels. Fallen. Devils. And all the other pantheons. Mixed together to form a fan service anime, that is basically soft porn. The light novel was far more useful and had more information. Fanfictions too. Well, this is gonna be hard. My targets are all the people involved with this. I get the church officials, they are corrupted bastards. But the Pope and a few angels are involved as well. Everybody is on the hit list. Some of those angels serve directly under Archangel Uriel. The Holy Flame. Killing them is a good reason to start a war. I mean, it's like killing Grafia or Rias in cold blood in front of Certses. Every angel is at least 1000 years old. That depends on their generation. So killing Uriel's commanders, who he has led through the Great War, and considers them like brothers. Which they are anyway, but they mean a lot more to him than any other commanders. So war is inevitable. That is, if I'm caught. This is gonna be a pain. But for a chance at a second life, it has to be done. Well, cheers to my new life in a harem world, where you could die 1 minute and not even know why. Cough off eyes cough. What could go wrong? Why isn't he waking up? A red-haired girl whines impatiently. Calm down, Rias. He was in pretty bad shape when you found him. So let him wake up naturally. The tall red-headed man put a hand on her shoulder and smiled gently. Will Blondie be okay? A small shy white-haired girl answered in a very low voice. I'm pretty sure he will be fine. And Rias will take good care of him like she takes good care of us. Isn't that right? Konako-chan? A girl with a similar height to Rias answers. She has violet hair and violet eyes. I just can't help but worry Akeno. He has been unconscious for 3 days. It never takes this long. And don't you try to convince me otherwise, Sirtsk-san, Rias said while pacing inside the room. Well, Rias, all we can do is wait. Oh, he is waking up. Akeno was interrupted by Sirtsk's voice. As he is much more powerful than them, he sensed it first. Really? Rias jumped in excitement and rushed to the bed. The boy groaned and slowly opened his eyes. You are finally awake, you had us worried, Rias says with a bright smile. The boy looked at her, then at each person inside the room. Where am I? Who are you? The boy asks in a monotone voice, which made Sirtsk's lift his eyebrow. That was not normal. You are in the underworld, in my house. And I am Rias Gremory. Your new master. What's your name? The boy stared at her for almost half a minute before answering. My name is Isaiah. And what do you mean by master? Word count 1030. I think it turned out pretty well, all things considered. For an idea that happened because my brain doesn't know the meaning of chill out and focus on one fanfic. It's not that bad. BTW Shigata Keno, Konako, Yuato, and Gasper in that order. I don't know how old they are. But I'm going to guess Yuato 8. Rias and Akeno 9, while Konako was 6 to 7, can't remember for her. Red-headed or red-haired. Kiba Yuato means horse rider. Konako Tojo, Konako equals kitten, Tojo equals castle, in reference to her being the rook. Real original there. Rias. Release date on web novel. 16/11/2022. Chapter 2, Deal with the Devil. So let me get this straight. I died. This girl revived me as a devil and now I'm her slave. I already know everything, of course. But fake it till you make it. That's right, and it's not slave. You are my servant and a devil now. Rias defends herself aggressively. She must not like the word slave. Then again, she is still a child. Sirtsk's is a different story. He is closely observing me. You are quite different than most reincarnated devils. They are mostly in denial or become aggressive. At least those who were reincarnated after their death. He speaks softly, looking for any reaction from me. Just because I died doesn't mean I'm stupid. You are the only adult in this room. Obviously, you are here to deal with me if I turn aggressive. I know that if I so much as glare at her you will kill me. I point out blankly, not bothering at all to hide my thoughts. Sirtsk's is a super devil. I'm not stupid enough to lie in front of him. He will be able to tell that I'm lying and harboring negative feelings. This way he won't be so on guard. Honest, simple-minded people are much easier to deal with than the scheming type. No, that's not true. The Gremory treats their servants just like family. So naive, so stupid. Shame she will stay like this throughout her teenage years. One of the reasons I dislike her so much. I just stop her rant and point toward Sirtsk's. Ask him, he will tell you if it's true. And I-san tell him it isn't true. She rushes and stands in front of Sirtsk's. On her face was an unspoken tell him. Sirtsk's just sighs and massages his temples. You are partly right, I am here to make Rias isn't hurt, but I wouldn't have killed you. Rias just puffs out her chest in pride. Her expression was saying, see, I was right. So what happens now? I ask Sirtsk's, not even looking at Rias. You will be living with us. You will learn about the underworld and your new duties, he answers calmly. So I will be a slave. Well, what if I don't want to? I just ask right back. What, you want to leave? Whyy? I promise I won't make you do things you don't like. I will take good care of you, Rias says pleadingly. This is what I don't like about her. She treats her peerage like dolls or pets. All of them have one sort of trauma, and she did nothing about it. She just went to school and played human. Well, that's an issue. See, the artifact used to reincarnate you has a drawback. If you don't stay near Rias you will turn into a mindless monster that would need to be put down, he said with a sad expression on his face. He is not a bad actor. Any normal person would think that he is actually sad. Thank you, plot knowledge. I would be so screwed without that. So a suicide switch if anyone decided to go rouge then. I say right in his face, which makes his eye twitch a bit. He probably isn't used to people talking like this to him. But this is a calculated risk. He is a huge siscon. I'm in Rias's peerage, there is no changing that. And if he would never make Rias sad, if he could help it. So how long do I have to be her slave? If you think I will be doing this for the rest of my life, because I should be grateful she saved my life, you have another thing coming. I didn't ask to be saved. She did it on her own accord, and by doing so denied me from ever getting the chance of going to heaven. Am I right? Rias just looks down to the ground with a guilty expression. The Akeno and Konako know that this isn't a conversation that they can join in, so they just keep quiet. Surtsk just sighs. That's right, as a devil, the doors of heaven are forever locked to you. So tell me, why should I accept being a slave to a spoiled princess? Rias looks insulted by that comment, while Akeno and Konako looked angry at me for insulting Rias. Surtsk looked like he had a giant headache. Usually he would have used his power to force people to do what he wants. But now he is forced to argue/negotiate with a child. How about this? Devils can live up to 10,000 years, you will be Rias's servant for only 100. What do you say? He says with a smile, 10 or 100k forgot. Smart sneaky bastard. If I live up to 100 years is still questionable. Most devils never live past 500 years, and even 100 years is a miracle for a reincarnated devil. Since they are used as cannon folders in fights. Plus he must know about Rias's engagement by now. So there is a chance that I will be Razor's slave later on, thus nullifying the deal I'm making with him now. I will not be a servant. I will fight for her, only that. I am not a butler, nor a toy. I will not follow her around like some lost puppy or go to parties with her. I will only fight for her for 100 years. Should something come up from her side that changes this deal, I will be set free. I only want one thing. Revenge for my fallen comrades. I want teachers and facilities where I can train. What do you say about this, you bastard? Surtsk's eye twitches slightly again. Oh, you must have hit something major that he was planning with this deal. Honestly, it was only speculation up until this point. I think he is betting on the evil piece slowly changing my opinion of Rias. And increasing my obedience. Of course, I know about that function. Thank you fanfics. It's logical if you actually think about it. Even now I can feel it trying to make me obey Rias. Well, it would be bad if you had no idea about it. But now that I do, I can use it to temper and strengthen my willpower. Sacred gears rely heavily on the willpower and desires of their hosts. So it will be very useful in the long run. Surtsk just stood there for a full minute. Thinking, calculating the odds. Making future scenarios. Then he looks up at me with a bright smile. Good, we have a deal. I have decided my own knight Tsuji Okita will train you. He is very strong and can teach you swordsmanship. You don't have any complaints about this, right? I don't know what he is planning fully, but I'm guessing is to make my fist bond or open up to my new teacher. Okita will be closely monitoring me. And I assume he will try to be very friendly with me in hopes of me accepting the Gremory family. Which I have to do, or fake at some point. Because right now it can be excused I am a recently reincarnated devil. They are very emotional and have strong denial about these sorts of things. But if I keep it up they might just cut their losses, and just kill me, extract the knight piece from me and go look for my replacement. Well, Isaiah, welcome to the Gremory household, Surtsk says with a small smile, which lights up the mood in the room, making the others excited. Number A/N. A little unrealistic, but hey, that's what a fanfic is in the first place. And in all honesty, Surtsk was just playing along. He could totally just threaten our MC in private. Which is always an option if our MC oversteps his boundaries. If you want to read ahead or just support me, go check out my pat. Or just read my other FICs. I have early drafts, ideas, plans, polls. Check it out and see if you like what I got. There is no paywall. Every single one of these FICs and chapters will be released eventually. So you don't have to pay to read them. But if you don't want to wait or just want to support me, check out the pat. patreon.com/alcoholic_panda, discord.gg/6yyvm6tj6t. Chapter 3, Guests Arriving. If you want to read ahead or just support me, go check out my pat. Or just read my other FICs. I have early drafts, ideas, plans, polls. Check it out and see if you like what I got. There is no paywall. Every single one of these FICs and chapters will be released eventually. So you don't have to pay to read them. But if you don't want to wait or just want to support me, check out the patreon.com/alcoholic_panda, discord.gg/6yyvm6tj6t. Please leave reviews so the FIC can enter the rankings. Word count 1435. Number. 2 weeks have passed since I joined the Gremory household. I met the Lord and Lady of the house, Zidicus and Vainlana Gremory. I was also introduced to Zidicus's harem members who were his peerage members as well. How ironic. Rias hated Razor just because he had a harem and was a big pervert. But her father does the same thing and she just ignores that fact and throws a childish tantrum. I met Xerxes' peerage, which of course included the strongest queen Graphia Lucifuge. Their son Milicus still hasn't been born. Hell, he hasn't even been conceived yet. I hate the look she has on her face. She was glaring at me with a cold look the whole time. Just because I don't want to be a slave to her family. There are a lot of controversial topics about her relationship with Xerxes. Some sources say true love. Others say she was enslaved, brainwashed, blah blah blah. Honestly, as long as she doesn't bother me I couldn't care less. He introduced me to his knight, Tsuji Okada. He appeared laid back and very excited to have a student. He was being very friendly towards me, which sent alarm bells ringing in my head. From what I know, Tsuji is a very strict teacher. Kiba only opened up to him after he was rescued by Tsuji from a stray devil. I wonder if I keep acting like this, will I also be rescued by someone from the Gremory household? They started educating me on the ways of the devils. History, magic, manners. A lot of it was just bullshit propaganda. Like how the current Satans are stronger than the original ones. I highly doubt that. Things were much different back then. The world was even more chaotic. There is no way that the original Satans were weak. Lucifer was the first son of God. And ultimately the one who landed the killing blow on him. It's still unknown what exactly happened in the Great War. But the new Satans weren't even born yet. Most of the weaklings died in that war. And the ones that survived kept their mouth shut. After all, when the new Satans took their positions, no one was going to say otherwise. The old schemers that survived wouldn't risk starting a fight they couldn't win. And other factions didn't want to make unnecessary enemies with the new devil faction. Politics and propaganda at its finest. Now Xerxes and Ajoka are strong. There is no denying that, both of them are qualified to enter the top 10 strongest beings in DxD. But that's just it. They are qualified for the current top 10. A lot of strong people died or were imprisoned in the time of the Great War and before that. God and the 4 Satans died. Drake, Albion, and some evil dragons who reached the same power as them, the Greek Titans and many others died or were imprisoned. So it's very likely that is just propaganda so they have better control over the devil population. It's very arrogant to say that the 2 of them are in the top 10. The devil faction is a part of the biblical faction, which ranks in the low high compared to the other factions in the world. Well, it was in the low high. I'm not so sure right now. Big G made himself a lot of enemies when he started stealing materials for his sacred gears. He stole the Nemean lion and Lycan from the Greek pantheon. Asterisk. The only reason the biblical faction is still standing is because people still think God is alive. He may be a bastard, okay, scratch that, he definitely was a bastard. He banned a lot of useless things which resulted in angels falling. Like he puts an angel in charge of the library and said angel fell because she was curious. But despite all his flaws, he had high personal strength which acted as a deterrent, keeping the other pantheons at bay. Why else did they make the alliance just as Kokabeel revealed the truth? If they waited any longer they would have found themselves cornered from all sides. Well, I still have some time before that happens. So I should just focus on getting stronger. On a different topic. Sirafal and Sana are coming over tomorrow to meet the new member. That should be a fun conversation. I'm looking forward to their reactions. So, excited to meet Rias's newest member Sotan? I hear he is a cute boy. Sirafal was nagging Sana who walked beside her with her queen Tsubaki. Chibi Sana just lifts up her glasses a little bit and looks at Sirafal. Naysama, I don't see why that would be important. We are merely going to meet him out of common courtesy as an allied house of the Gremories. We are representing the Sitri clan now. I will be visiting Rias later on as her friend. But right now please be serious. Sigh. Sana, you are such a stuck-up. Our families don't bother with those kinds of things when it's only us. I have known Surtsk for over 300 years while Rias is your best friend. Only you bother with those old traditions. Sirafal slouches a little bit and pouts at Sana. It is tradition. Sana says stubbornly. It is a tradition among allied houses. They decide on how to do it. We just say the greetings for fun, then we drop the noble talk, sit down and just relax. You know this, why are you being so stubborn? As the heiress to the Sitri clan, I can't show any weakness. Tsubaki just grimaces at Sana's words. She knows exactly what's bugging Sana. Sirafal didn't miss that and immediately had an idea of what was bothering her precious little sister. This is about your engagement, isn't it? Sirafal asks softly, causing Sana to freeze for a moment, then continue walking to the Gremory mansion. Usually, they would just teleport, but Sirafal had other ideas. So Tan, you know I won't put you in any situation which would make you unhappy. Sirafal cups her sister's cheeks. Sana just sadly looks down at the ground. You are Sirafal Leviathan. As a Demon King, you can't show favoritism or others will use this against you. I know you and father have been arguing about this. I know this is my duty as an heiress. But it still hurts to think that I will be forced into a marriage with someone I don't even know or like. Sirafal looks at the sad expression on her sister's face and comes to a decision. Sana, how confident are you in your chess skills? Sirafal asks her little sister in a serious tone. One sees rarely uses on her. Sana just looks at her all confused. I believe I'm among the top players in the underworld. Why? Sirafal just smiles. Sana loves chess. Everybody knows that, and she is very good at it. But will she be good enough? In that case, I might have a way out of your engagement for you. Sirafal smiles as she skips the entrance of the Gremory mansion, leaving behind a stunned Sana and Tsubaki behind. Wait, what? Ne-sama. Ne-sama. Chapter 4, Sirafal. Sirafal. I'm looking at a young blonde boy. Doing push-ups on the training ground. Based on the small puddle of sweat forming beneath him, he has been doing that for a while. So that's Ariatan's new knight? The survivor of the Holy Sword experiment? Well, not really a survivor, he would have died if Rias didn't get to him in time. Wow. He is cute. Tsubaki, that little girl has always liked younger boys. That little brat. He was training shirtless on purpose. He is trying to seduce my cute little Sonatan. Well, he does look pretty cute. I say, looking at my little Sonatan for any reactions. If she so much as blushes, that boy has got to go. Ne-sama, Tsubaki. We are here on official business. Please try to be more professional. And why are we outside instead of meeting them inside? Sana was feeling a bit uptight as always. Because he hasn't left the training field since he arrived here 2 weeks ago. The only time he is in the mansion is for his lessons or to eat food. I turn around and see Surtsk standing there with a calculating eye. There must be something more to that boy. Lucifer-sama. Both Tsubaki and Sana bow to him. I hide a smirk when he face palms. He loves it when the old coots show him respect. But when two little kids just bow, especially between allied families, it's just weird. I have said the same thing to Riastan, but she just doesn't listen. Sigh, Sana, how many times have I told you not to bow to me? You only need to do it when there are non-allied families around. Sirchan says with a wry smile. It gets old real quick when people bow to you everywhere you go. Me and Sirchan don't need an ego boost compared to the rest of our kind. Frankly, if I knew how much of a pain being the head of foreign relations is, I would have never taken the job. Some bastard young master is always causing trouble for me by reincarnating people from different factions. Oh, how I wish I could just give them to the parties involved to take their punishment. But the old houses would have my head for not defending my kind. I am busy 24/7 keeping the other factions from not just straight up starting a war with us. Ah, if only I could time travel and smack some sense into the younger me. Damn my father be the head of foreign relations, it is an important position, he said. It will be a fun job, he said. You get to travel outside of the underworld to meet other people. I haven't had a good night's sleep in almost a year. The Nikomata incident was a nightmare. The yokai faction has blacklisted devils. Publicly they have a non-aggression alliance with the Shinto faction, but Yasaka serves Amaterasu as a shrine maiden, so the Shinto faction is hostile with us as well. Sigh, that was a pain to try and deal with. Sirchan is the only reason another civil war hasn't erupted. And he is terrible at the job. He is too soft to be handling domestic relations. That would be disrespectful to you, Lucifer-sama. I can't do that. Sonatan looks so cute when she pushes her glasses up like that. Surtsk-sama. What do you mean he hasn't left the field? Surely he does other things except studying and eating. Tsubaki was always a smart girl. She changed it to his name so it won't be as formal, making Sir-chan feel better that someone is actually listening to him. Sir-chan takes a complicated look at the blonde boy. No, he really doesn't. He was studying for 3 hours a day, which he shortened to an hour and a half, and trains for the rest, then falls asleep on the field when he gets exhausted. If he could, he would eat on the field as well. Now I'm really interested in the boy. Sana, why don't you and Tsubaki go find Rias and Akeno? They should be waiting for you. They just nod and leave. Sir-chan must have noticed my look, so he sent them away. As soon as they are out of hearing range, I turn to him. So what's the reason you are so worried about the kid? He just sighs and runs his head down his face. The little brat refuses to serve Rias. He is actually resisting the obedience part of the evil piece. That's surprising. It's not something I would expect from such a young boy. The willpower to do that is impressive. Not many could do it at his age. He also has a scary sharp mind for a child. It's like looking at a young Ajuka. He figured out the purpose of the evil pieces and had the gall to tell it to my face. He knew I wouldn't hurt him because it would make Rias-chan sad, but he kept it right until to where my limit was. So what's the problem? If he is smart, it's even better. Sir-chan just sighs again. He has been doing that a lot. His exact words were, and I quote, "I will not be a servant. I will fight for her, only that. I am not a butler, nor a toy. I will not follow her around like some lost puppy or go to parties with her. I will only fight for her for 100 years. Should something come up from her side that changes this deal, I will be set free. I only want one thing. Revenge for my fallen comrades. I want teachers and facilities where I can train." Oh, that's bad. That is not good. Yet, Rias will be the head of the Gremory family. If it gets out that she cannot control her servant, it would be an embarrassment. We didn't sign a magical contract because I assume he is too young to know about them. But if we did, he would get away because if Rias-tan marries Riser, the situation would have changed, as he would belong to Riser as well and he would be freed. Damn, are you sure he is just a normal kid? He is way too smart to be an ordinary kid. Now, since we didn't sign a contract, I could always force him to do what I want. But the obedience seal isn't working at all. And he is very rebellious and ambitious. If I try and force him, he might just hurt Rias-tan and turn stray. And you interfering with Gremory family business makes you look weak as a Satan and head of domestic relations. Man, your sister knows how to pick them. This was pure luck, right? If he pulled the same shit he did like with Barakil's daughter and the Nekojo, I will be pissed. He is blatantly helping Rias. I will do the same for my darling little Sonatan if this keeps happening. Sertsk shakes his head. No, I had nothing to do with this, and as far as I know neither does my family. I narrow my eyes at him. I have already warned you before and I am doing it again. Showing blatant favoritism like this is unacceptable. If it happens one more time, I will start helping Sana with her purge. Then when it's found out, we both take the fall. And you won't be able to say it was Gremory's family trait. Dumb luck. The only reason that still sticks is that they can't find proof. Sertsk cringes at the dumb luck comment. The Gremory family trait from his father is called power of luck. But it has faded away, and there is no proof it still works. That's why he paid a fortune to marry Venelana Bale. He got the power of destruction and a very talented son, making it look like the power of luck was still working. They are doing everything they can to make it look like Rias has inherited the trait. Not that it helps her at all. She is very lazy. I'm so glad my Sonatan isn't like her. Her family setting things up is expected. But as a Satan, he can't be doing things like this. Come on, I want to talk to the kid. Maybe I can convince him to be less hostile. I don't need another incident. Especially with his hate towards the church and heaven. I turn around and start walking, leaving Sertsk to his thoughts. Chapter 5, Sirafal 2. 481. 482. Come on. Come on. 483. Thud. Fuck. Hey. Damn it. After 2 weeks I am only at this level. Devils are about 5 times stronger than normal humans. That means in 2 weeks I still haven't been able to do 100 push UPS. In these 2 weeks, all I have been doing is studying and doing basic exercises. Running, push UPS, crunch, squats etc. It's not enough. I'm 8 years old right now. The plot starts in 9 years. That's when the shit hits the fan. Riser. Kokabeel. Cows Brigade. Hero Faction. And all that other shit that happens one after another. I plan to leave as soon as the plot starts. But realistically I doubt fate will let me go that easily. And I still have to kill everybody involved with the Holy Sword project. I want to find and kill Valper before the thing with Kokabeel. But that's unlikely, so that means I have to wait for Kokabeel to attack. The world is a big place. Especially with the different factions involved. Let's say hypothetically Vapler gets the protection of someone like Indra because he learned I was chasing him. That's it. I won't be able to kill him. Unless I get off ice to do it or something along those lines. Honestly, I should kill Valper, let Kokabeel kill Rias and Sana, and when the war starts I join the Fallen and massacre everybody involved with the project from the Angels' side. The church will follow the angles, so I can get the priests there. Yeah, that sounds like a solid plan that has a low chance of ever happening because of something called plot. Whatever, I need to finish up. I'm done for the afternoon. I need to go eat and continue with leg day. As a knight, speed is my advantage. And I plan to abuse it to the max. Combine my natural speed with a sword having the concept of acceleration or something along those lines. And you have a living cheat. Why hello there, I hear a cheerful voice behind me. I turn around and see a beautiful girl, looking in her late teens with black hair, tied into twin tails and blue eyes. She also has a childlike body which at first made me underestimate her, but my instincts started to flare big time. Just like they did with Surtsk's. It took me a second to recognize her since in the show she is mostly shown as a magical girl. But right now she is wearing a woman's business suit. I am Seer. Seraphil Sitri, or now known as Seraphil Leviathan, which is by the way a very subtle way to make the population think better of you. Taking the name Leviathan just so you gain more respect from the people. I find it stupid and demeaning that you would get rid of your clan name. But hey, that's just me. I can see her lips starting to twitch from that. Sigh, I can see why Surtsk calls you a pain in the ass. You do know people who are too smart get killed first, right? She says with an amused smile. If that was the case, Ajilka Astaroth would have died a long time ago. And I will call you in any name you wish. But I will use your real name first. If you want me to stop, just say so. Sigh, just call me Seraphal. Oh, and now that we are on the topic of names, we need to change yours. No offense, but you having the name Isaiah while being a devil is troublesome. She has a weird expression when she says the last word. The church. You want to avoid any trouble with the church, and rubbing the fact that you have a survivor from their secret dark inhumane experiments isn't really a good way to do it. So you want me to change my name temporarily or permanently and use that knowledge at the opportune time to get the most benefits from them? I deadpan at her. Seraphal starts laughing dryly while scratching the back of her head. Fuck, this kid is sharp. Surtsk coughs lightly. In that case, Rias already had an idea for a new name. Of course, she did. How about Kiba? He says with a weird sense of pride. I'm reading his face and it says my little sister thought of this. Ah, I'm so proud. But contrary to his expectations, me and Seraphal both have blank faces at the stupid name. Horse rider? Really? I look at him like he is an idiot. Surtsk-chan. No offense, but Rias has a terrible naming sense. Seraphal points at the man. That's not true, he says, sounding offended. Konako Tujo. Castle kitten, I say in a dry tone. So? His response makes Seraphal face palm. Sure, whatever. I don't care about my name. I can always change it later. I say offhandedly. I'm definitely changing it back. I will not be known as Horse Rider. Sigh. Let's go. My little sister Sana and her queen Tsubaki were eager to meet you. Seraphal just seems to forget the earlier mood and goes back to her basic setting, the cheerful magical girl. Which was fake as fuck. How about you go take a quick shower to freshen up before meeting them? It's bad manners if you come like that. First impressions are everything. Surtsk suggests, but it's clear it was more like an order. I just look at the man, I'm not a servant or a pet. I will only fight. Anything beyond that isn't part the deal. I don't care if the Big G himself came to the underworld. I will be taking a shower and going to eat. Should they wish to meet me, I will be in the dining room. I say my piece and start moving towards the mansion. Seraphal POV. Sigh, see what I mean? Sirx sighs and points at the retreating figure of the newly named Kiba. Yet, he has a problem with authority. But didn't actually insult you. And he was right when he said this isn't in the deal you made. He is stubborn and prideful. I will not be surprised if he gets pride or wrath as his major sin. I shake my head at the difficult situation Sirx has found himself in. The boy was Rias's knight. He was stubborn and prideful but was willing to do the most important things servants do. Fighting in the rating game. The rating game determines a devil's status. Devils respect strength. The higher you are on the list, the easier things will be for you. Of course, there are other sides like politics, wealth, alliances, etc. But strength will always be respected. I can only hope he will succumb to the obedience seal. And become more accepting to Rias and the others. Sirx sighs as he heads into the mansion. Somehow I doubt a will like that will let himself succumb. His sin has an 80% chance of being pride. He stood in front of 2 Satans and spoke his mind. He has more balls than half the devils I have met. And as he grows stronger, so will his pride. Take dragons for example. They are pride incarnate. They will never back down from an insult. And when they fight, they do it to the death, or until they get bored. There is a reason people don't mess with dragons. They might not win. But they will make sure to take an arm and a leg before they die. And nobody wants to fight an insane maniac like that. It's just not worth it. If I'm right, and I usually am about these things, young Kiba will grow to be exactly like that. The future will not be peaceful. Sigh, I can practically feel the paperwork coming. And I don't like it one bit. Number. Word count 1300. If you want to read ahead or just support me, go check out my pat. There's a lot of FICS and ideas there. There is no paywall. Every single one of these FICS and chapters will be released eventually. But if you don't want to wait or just want to support me, check out the pat. patreon.com/alcoholic_panda, discord.gg/6yyvm6tj6t. Review please. Oh, and thanks to the people that already did. It helps a lot. Making the rankings makes the FIC more noticeable. That sounds wrong for some reason. Whatever. Review, drop a stone, subscribe, add to collection, XD. Chapter 6, Meeting Sana and Tsubaki. Kiba. Stop being rude and pay attention to our guests. Rias yells out, pointing her finger at me. I was just silently eating in the dining room when the red-haired brat stormed in with Sana following her. And by the way she was out of breath, Rias must have dragged her over here. Kendo, Konako, and Tsubaki shortly followed. So not wanting to leave a bad impression, I introduced myself and sat back down to eat. What do you mean rude? I introduced myself properly. Plus Sana and Tsubaki are your guests, not mine. Wonder what ticked off the brat this time. And you sat down to eat right after that. Even though Sana and Tsubaki came all the way here to see you. While Rias was having a tantrum. Sana was looking at us with a sharp look. Trying to figure me out probably, and what threat I pose her if she were to fight Rias peerage vs peerage. Perhaps you could introduce yourself again. With more details this time please, Sana suggested. It was weird seeing a kid use the fake sweet smile. But then again, they are devils. Sigh. Fine, I stand up, leaving my delicious meal. My food is getting cold because the Gremory princess doesn't like being ignored. As you already know, my name is Kiba. Yes, that name was picked by Rias. Yes, it's unoriginal, and no, I won't tell you my real name. I was reincarnated by the night piece, so I am a swordsman. My sacred gear is also related to swords. I like to train and eat in silence. Get the clue already? I dislike annoying redheads who have too much free time on their hands. The little insult was totally unregistered by Rias. Honestly, the theory that all the nutrients went into her breasts is starting to be more and more real. Sana caught that very obvious insult and covered her mouth to stop herself from laughing. Her action stopped the conversation between Kendo, Tsubaki, and Konako, who were staying a bit further away. What's so funny, Sana? Tsubaki asks with a smile. After all, it's rare to see Sana smile. Nothing, Tsubaki. Kiba just said a funny joke when he was introducing himself. Sana was trying hard to control her face, but the corners of her mouth twitched every few seconds trying to form a smile. Really, I didn't get it. Say it again. No, the theory is wrong. She was an idiot from the start. I put my hand on my chin and how about no? Why not? Rias yells out. Because it's a waste of time and I want to finish my meal. Just think about what I said and it will come to you. I calmly sit back down and continue eating. Rias smirks a bit. But don't you want to play with us? Puppy dog eyes. So this is how she manipulates the strongest Siscon. No, my casual remark makes her freeze in place. She really is a spoiled brat, she has probably gotten anything she wants. I think they should be telling her about the engagement in a year or two. That should be fun to watch. Why not? I calmly sit back down and continue my meal. Unfortunately can't join their tea party as I have to continue my training. Why would I go with them when they only complain about their Siscon siblings or do normal kid stuff? Well, as normal as two heiresses can be. Training. Why do you train so hard? Tsubaki asked curiously. I will ignore the fact that she looked at Sana first. Even as kids, devils are still devils. For my ambition. Which is? Sana asked with a small smile. Revenge. I say it as indifferently as possible. Sana frowned a bit. I guess she was hoping to get more out of me. It's common for reincarnated devils to have resentment about their death. Why? Rias says at me in a conflicting tone. She tries to play it off but everybody heard the way she said it. Why what? Nope, food is more important. But damn, these cooks can make a mean steak. I need to get them to teach me how to cook. I will not be starving to death because I don't know how to do it. Like some retarded young masters. One of the few interesting pastimes I have right now is searching the DeviantNet for all the stupid shit the so-called high-class devils or young masters have done. One retard actually managed to get trapped in a divine forest. To escape it he needed to clear some trials. The trials are mostly about survival and take a lot of energy to even attempt them. That's why there were animals in the forest to regain the lost stamina. The man actually starved to death because the food he tried to make tasted disgusting. So he refused to eat it. It's very difficult for devils to starve, since they can rely on their magic in case of emergencies. But because of the special properties of the divine forest he did. The god of that forest had a blast shoving this story in the devil faction's face. He filmed the whole thing. Gotta love the DeviantNet, it's probably Ajoka's best invention. It isn't actually mentioned if he thought of it or he stole it from the humans. Laughing my ass off after an intense workout always makes me feel better. Why do you ignore us? Your new family and go train instead. Rias starts tearing up. Oh hell nah. There won't be any talk no jutsu from me. Go ask your brother. He knows why, or at least he thinks he does. I think they just forgot how I addressed the Satan. Must be because they are still young. They don't quite get how much of a big deal their siblings are. Why don't you tell us now? Chibi Akeno speaks up to support her king while Chibi Konako only nods her head. Because I don't want to. Mostly because I'm done with my meal and need to go back to training. Sana-san, Tsubaki-san, it has been a pleasure meeting you. Time for a tactical retreat. The Siscons aren't here but they are probably listening in. They wouldn't be Siscons if they didn't. It has been interesting meeting you as well, Kiba-kun. Tsubaki smiles gently. Don't be a stranger, feel free to come to the Sitri territory. Ha, Sana has talent for these kinds of subtle things. Well, subtle for her age. I think as long as she does this for anyone her age she would get something out of them. I think I interest her because of my desire for strength. I doubt anyone our age trains at all. She is smart. She will probably figure out that training this early will bring in benefits later on. I'm sure Sirafal will give her a push in that direction as well. On the other hand, there is no hope for Rias. I will take it under consideration. Goodbye and enjoy your stay here. I quickly leave, before things get even more complicated. I need to make all types of iron swords and be proficient in making them before moving on to magic swords. Back to the grind. Chapter 7, Respect the Grind. Time skip 2 years. Kiba is 10 years old. Rias 11. Surtsk's office. So Okada, what's the report for this month? Surtsk says calmly while doing his paperwork. This has been a regular thing ever since Kiba joined the Gremory household. Not good. It's even worse than last month. His strength has been growing at an insane rate, at least from a devil's point of view. The fact that Rias isn't training is just making things worse. Soon he will be even stronger than her. Then the obedience part of the evil piece will become useless. That only works as long as the king is stronger than the other pieces. Okada gives his report calmly, not missing a single detail. Surtsk sighs, puts down the paperwork and starts rubbing his temples. Is there anything we can do? He asks in an almost depressed tone. Not really, my king. The boy stopped listening to me after 2 months of his arrival. He saw that while I was training him, I only focused on the basics and continued to do so after he had already mastered them. His talent and dedication just increased the rate of his growth. In 2 years he has long surpassed the strength of most low-ranked devils and is nearly at the middle rank. This kind of growth from a reincarnated devil has never been seen. It was hard to miss the respect that Okada had for his fellow reincarnated devil. Especially since he is a knight just like himself. Why is this kid such a pain? Usually, this would be great for the devil faction. But the kid is totally indifferent to us and will only stay until the deal is completed. The stupid engagement has already been decided and they will tell Rias soon. They say just because she is 11 she can understand what being engaged means. This changes the circumstances of our deal. If he tries to leave Rias, the only choice I have left is to eliminate him so other factions don't get the chance to grab him. It doesn't matter how strong he gets. It took me a little more than a century to become a super devil. He isn't going to close that gap anytime soon. Okada just sighs at that. Another great talent will be lost because of the threat they pose if they were allowed time to grow. That's just the way the world works. Kiba Uto Training Ground. It's been 2 years since I got here and my progress has been great. I put in a lot of work each day. Now I'm somewhere in the middle of mid-ranked devils. From a freshly reincarnated devil that is barely stronger than he was when he died to a mid-ranked in 2 years is excellent progress. The way I achieved this was by using my brain compared to most people in this world. After I got strong enough to use my sacred gear. That took about 2 months. In those 2 months, I trained under Surtsk's knight. Well, it was obvious he was there to monitor me, but the man tried to slow down my progress. That was quite stupid. So I thanked him for his teachings and said I would develop my own style. In those first few months, I only made solid iron and steel weapons. I wanted to get the design right and sturdy. As soon as I got the basics of my sacred gear, it was time to make magic swords. At first, I started to make or remake Kiba's old swords. Most of them were elemental swords. Then there was Replenish Com, which makes a mini black hole at the tip of the sword. And Og Kiba's Pride and Joy. That turned out to be totally useless holy eraser. The sword is made out of darkness and was supposed to absorb holy energy. He designed it to destroy the Excalibur pieces, but it got destroyed instead. Too bad, so sad. Now for the swords that I made. My first sword design was gravity increase and resistance increase. I made 2 variations, one as an axillary, which are sword-shaped trinkets. Mostly necklaces, I use them at all times. But their effect is quite obvious when I train. It made training a lot harder. Resistance increase did just that. It increases the resistance to whatever environment I am in. So walking normally to me is like walking in a rapid river or walking in a thick substance. Plus the gravity increase, which affects me from above, made training that much harder. Now there are attack versions as well. I made them into small thin daggers. As soon as I stab someone with these, they are immediately affected. They can stack to a certain degree. The max limit is 4 to 5 stacks. Still pretty useful swords. Next was the tattoo sword or ink sword. It could turn into a tattoo and stay on my skin. I made this to hide the previous 2 swords even more. So I combined them with the tattoo sword and now I don't have to carry them as trinkets. After that, I made different barrier and illusion swords. I used these to know if someone was watching while I was training and to hide my training from them. There is no real reason for them to know my strength. I think they worked. Since the barrier doesn't protect me, only hides me from their view. And the illusion sword makes a fake copy of me that constantly swings his sword. The only one who keeps tabs on me is Okada, and that's from afar. I don't think he is very skilled in magic. Even if they do know. They haven't stopped me, so I will continue as usual. Then Mana Compression Sword and Mana Shroud Sword. Even though I named them Mana, that really isn't the case. I use demonic energy, but I like the sound of Mana better. This was one of the best things I have made. The Mana Compression Sword will use my power to continuously compress my demonic energy. Same with Mana Shroud Sword. It will continuously drain my demonic energy to hide my strength. This way I get to hide my progress. Of course, I will occasionally show more strength each month. Just so they don't get too suspicious. I mean, I'm training like a madman. If I show no or slow progress, it's bound to be suspicious. So that went on for 2 years. And I reached mid-ranked at the age of 10. In my opinion, most of the so-called high-class devils are mid-ranked in terms of strength. In the show, Rias and Sana definitely weren't high-class material. So to reach that level of strength at the age of 10 despite the disadvantages is pretty good. They were 18 in the show and were born as purebloods, which means their power is bigger and they had other advantages. I'm at that level right now. Sad. Born with a golden spoon in their mouths and they made so little progress. The obedience seal is pretty much obsolete. It was useful for the first year. I trained my willpower with it. But recently it doesn't do much. I just passively ignore it nowadays. I'm looking forward to going to Japan. Even now Rias is a big Japanophile. She should start pestering her parents to visit there. And when she turns 15 she will enter Kuoh Academy. That's in 4 years. And plot starts in 7 years. I should be more than strong enough to survive Kokabeel. I don't have to kill him, just Valper, he can kill Rias if he wants after that. Well, back to grinding. Chapter 8, Waiting for Riser. Asterisk tap. Tap. Tap asterisk. That was all that could be heard inside the room. Rias was tapping the floor with her foot nervously. We were all waiting for Riser to come. This would be the first time these two actually meet. Rias has reached the minimum age. Which can mean so many different things. I decided not to waste precious brain cells to understand devil idiocy. Riser is like 5 years older than her, I think. So he would be 18 right about now. They will be getting married once she is an adult, or if they both agree they can do it earlier. Well, that's not going to happen. This is kind of like a play date for kids. They get to meet and get a feel for each other. Which Rias totally ruins with her predetermined views of him. She sees him like he is evil incarnate. When he is actually a normal devil doing his job. Devils are low on numbers. Purebloods are encouraged to have harems so they increase the chance of new devils getting born. The only real devils who break that norm are the Satans. Ajoka is asexual. Falbium is too lazy to have sex. Seraphal can't do it because of her image. And it's looked down upon if female devils have harems. And Sertsk has Grafia as his wife. And no other devils want to go near her in fear of her reaction to her new sisters. Well, that's the official reason for Seraphal and Sertsk. The real reason is that they're major ciscons. And would love nothing more than to bed their siblings. I mean, he only married Grafia to get a better standing as the Satan of domestic affairs. How he got Grafia pregnant is beyond me. They barely spend time with each other. Such a pity too. Grafia is a beauty when she isn't wearing that stupid maid costume. Maybe she has a maid fetish or something. Asterisk tap. Tap. Tap asterisk. Rias, how about you go out for a bit of fresh air? There is still time until Riser arrives. Akeno the Oni-san in training advises. Sigh, that's a good idea. Actually, let's be late. It will show that I have no interest in him and it's a very rude thing to do in general. Rias brightens up at that. Rias stands up quickly. Akeno, Konako, let's go. Kiba, you coming? Nah, go on without me. I will be here to welcome the guests. Don't want your mother yelling at you for not letting someone stay here, do ye? I wave her off. My laziness clearly showing. I try to satisfy all my sins in one way or another. I obviously can't do lust yet. It will have to wait for when I enter Japan. But I do try to indulge the other. Suit yourself with that. They walk out of the room leaving me alone. Peace at last. I have been just laying around this week. Trying to take it easy. Experiment with new swords and stuff like that. At age 12 I am currently at the beginning of high class in terms of strength. A level that most high class devils haven't even reached because they are too lazy. They get that title automatically if they are born in a noble family. They will reach it eventually, by the time they are 400. Since their magic grows as they age. And just last week I unlocked my balance breaker. Now to explain what is a balance breaker? It's said to be a forbidden move. A bug in the system. Or as Drake famously said it. And I quote. Sacred gears change and evolve while using the feelings of the possessors as a key. But there is a different territory to that. When the feelings and the wishes of the possessor does a dramatic change that it changes the flow of this world, the sacred gear reaches it. Yes. This is, balance breaker. Now with me it's different. Instead of some bullshit nakama or the power of feelings or whatever is used to unlock balance breaker. I forced my sacred gear to evolve. How I did that is pretty simple. I trained like hell. Used the sacred gear to its maximum potential. I constantly made new swords. until it got to the point that the gear had to forcefully evolve to keep up with me and the swords I was trying to create. As for how I got that strong? Well, in the past 2 years I have been secretly training in the most dangerous parts of the underworld against magical beasts. Sertx once took us there for a lesson. Whether his goal was to motivate Rias to train more or to show me my place in the world, I don't know nor care. I got inspired by the Hiraishin in Naruto. And let me tell you, that was a pain in the ass to create. I first made small daggers, which are just small swords basically to act as markers. Then there was the teleportation sword. I could have gone with a teleportation spell. But then they would know. They can track the Germary sigil/magic circle. There are two. One for the masters and one for the servants. First of all, the purpose of a magic circle is to decrease the cost of magic spells. Devils don't really need them in the first place, since their magic relies on imagination. But that takes a heavy toll on their reserves. So they made circles to lower the cost. Different families have worked hard on lowering the cost as much as possible. But so that the other families don't discover their method, they hide it behind a family sigil or mark. The servants of course use a bastardized version which is like half as efficient as the one Rias uses, for example. In any case, they know when a teleportation spell is used. I made it so the sword can be charged up and then used. Because if I teleport long distances like I plan to, I would arrive exhausted and drained, which would be suicidal. Once I am there, I have to charge the sword again to get back, which I do at a much slower pace. Thankfully, I already expressed my desire to go out and train near the Gremmery territory. At first, they followed me and kept a close eye on me. But as time went on, they just made sure I was in the area. So I left a sword that would have my aura on it, and went to fight against magical beasts. Do that for 2 years. There were a few close calls, but the experience only made me stronger. So last week, when I was experimenting with new swords, I wanted to start making a few unique swords, but it wasn't going so well. So I pumped all my magic into it. The sword shape started forming, but it was unstable. This happened a few times before, so I just kept on feeding it magic power until the sacred gear literally snapped from the pressure and forcefully evolved, awakening the balance breaker. Now, because it was a rough awakening both on the gear and on myself, I'm taking it easy so I can recharge in a way. An orange magic circle appears in the center of the room, breaking me from my thoughts. Man, this is going to be so much fun to watch. Number. Next chap is Riser chap. Fun arguments and mostly amusing, I hope. Chapter 9, Riser. Once the teleportation circle was finished, from it a tall blonde young man appears. HOH? He is alone. Usually when new devils meet, they come with their peerage to show off. He probably heard that Rias doesn't have a lot of members and he didn't bring his peerage not to embarrass her. How thoughtful of him. I was told Lady Rias would welcome me. Judging by your age, I assume you are in her peerage. Where is your master? Wow, they really showed him in a bad light in the series. He isn't even mocking my position as a servant. It's just the way it is. Masters and servants, that is what a peerage is. No matter what Rias says about them being like family. Maybe he turned out that way because of Rias. Met. Who knows? I stand up and hold out my hand. Kiba Uto. Night. I have no idea where Rias went. She was angry over the engagement and went ahead on a tantrum. I suggest waiting for her to come. She should have been informed you were here the moment the teleportation circle appeared. He looked at me for a few seconds, before giving me a firm handshake. I see. I am Riser Phoenix, the third son of the Phoenix clan and Rias's fiancé. He accepts my suggestion and sits down to wait for Rias. So what is your opinion on this engagement? His first reaction was to look at my body language, trying to figure out my intentions. I was totally relaxed and was just curious. It looks like he picked up on that because he started talking. Well, I was surprised, to say the least. Learning that I was engaged to a girl 5 years younger than me and the little sister of the Satan was a big surprise. It took me a while to wrap my head around it. But since the devil population is declining, it's my duty as one of the noble houses to produce strong heirs for the future of our species. I hope to get along with Rias and that we have a somewhat normal marriage. I had heard that she isn't happy about this, but I don't know to what extent he looks at me for answers to that unasked question. Buddy, you are in for a rough time. I summon some wine for us. That is the most common alcohol in this house, so there is no problem with drinking it. You might want to have a drink first. He cringes a bit at my comment. His face was saying it all that bad. Hey. I just smiled wryly. Oh, you have no idea. Before we even start drinking, Rias storms in with an angry expression on her face, followed by a Kendo, Konako, and Grafia. Riser looks at me, then his wine glass, then me again. I give him a look of pity. I totally get him. I do not want to be sober when I am dealing with an angry Rias, and there is no time to get drunk either. I salute you, fallen soldier. Now how do I leave in this situation? Things are about to get ugly and I don't want to be here when they do. Riser quickly recovers, stands up and bows slightly. Lady Rias. I am Riser Phoenix. The third son of the Phoenix clan and your betrothed. Rias was getting angrier by the second. Geez, what a brat. I came here to introduce myself and ask you on a date. To get to know each other better. He spoke softly from start to finish. A perfect example of a noble. On the other hand, I turned to Rias. Her hands clenched and her face red from anger. She looked like she was about to blow up. That is until Grafia stepped beside her. That would be wonderful, Riser-sama. I'm afraid Rias-sama needs a bit more time to get ready. As this was quite unexpected. Unexpected my ass. The parents planned this date. This was all orchestrated and it's about to blow up in their faces. They want to make it public in hope of pressuring Rias with it. Peer pressure is a good tactic. But they failed to account that Rias is an idiot, and she is about to embarrass both houses. I hope the rest of you keep Riser-sama company while Rias gets ready. Ah, she slipped up. So much for the perfect maid. She called Rias by her name with no honorifics. She was always bitching about perfect manners to me. And how to properly act as a servant of the Gremory house. Wah! As soon as Rias tried to protest, she was grabbed by Grafia and led out of the room. As soon as they left, the room descended into silence. Akeno was giving silent glares to Riser. I just sat down and started drinking. Riser, seeing that I stopped talking, looked at Akeno and Konako before doing the same. We continued drinking in silence before Akeno spoke up. Kiba-kun, you were being quite friendly with Riser-sama there. She practically spits out the sama. What's her game here? Riser has been nothing but polite and respectful. I just replied in kind that and both are drinking to get him ready for the date. He is 18 and obviously knows what his parents are planning. But he has no choice but to continue. As the third and youngest son, he has no input in the family business and isn't anywhere near to the lord's seat. He can only be useful as a part of a political marriage. Like they are doing right now. Sure, he would become Lord Gremory. But only in name. The real goal is to get stronger children from this marriage. Frankly, it isn't that even big of a deal. He has to get Rias pregnant, put on a fake smile for the public, showing his happy marriage, and then just has to go back to living his life. Riser raised an eyebrow of me causally calling his name but didn't say anything. Suddenly we hear a tapping sound. That was the sound of heels. Well, looks like my date has arrived. Riser finished his wine glass and stood up. Watch yourself when she is holding a drink. Good luck. I sent the sound only to his ears using magic. He looked at me and nodded. Then the doors opened, showing Rias. She was wearing a short-sleeved dark blue dress that went until her knees. But here was where the devil physique played. Even at 13 years old she was very beautiful. Her body was way more developed than it should have been. That's a figure most girls have in their late teens. But all of that was ruined by the big frown she had on her face. Well, Riser-sama, Rias-sama, the teleportation circle is finished. I hope you will be civil to each other and have a good time. Enjoy your date. They went on top of the teleportation circle, but Rias was determined to be as far away from him as possible. A white light flashed and they were gone. This is gonna be a disaster, I just know it. It's going to be so funny to watch. I can't wait. Number. At Leon_Mority. Your comment about Sierra Fall was deleted by Webnovel. But yet if she sleeps with more guys there is a bigger chance she will get pregnant. But stupid devil logic. One guy can get 10 girls pregnant. Which means 10 babies, theoretically, one girl with 10 guys means only one baby. I mean their laws mostly revolve around giving males more power. For the sake of increasing population. There were examples in other FICS like how a pillarhead can just rape a low-class devil and get away without any charges. Since he was trying to increase the devil population. Seems realistic to me. XD. Chapter 10, Riser 2. Well, it turned out just as I expected it would. Rias returned after about 20 minutes with a smug look on her face. 5 minutes after that, Lord and Lady Gremory came and the yelling competition started. Apparently, this idiot splashed her drink in Riser's face in the middle of the biggest and fanciest bar for young devils. It's all over the Devinet. A very public and embarrassing moment for both houses. Riser didn't take it too well. When he got back home he blew up a lot of stuff in anger. I also heard rumors he was emotionally hurt. I mean, the dude gave it his all. The marriage is set in stone. All of them know that. He didn't want a wife that would hate him for eternity and tried to make this work out somehow. All he got was public embarrassment on someone he can't exactly return because of her big brother. It's no wonder he turned out the way he did in canon. Rias was punished, but it was honestly nothing. She was grounded for a while and had some privileges were taken from her, her manga and anime. The Phoenix house demanded compensation for this insult. Which they got in a way. They are the richest family in the underworld. They don't need money. What they got was that the time of the marriage was decided. Which was still being negotiated cause Sertsk wanted more time for Rias. But now it would be when Rias finishes high school. But the strongest Siskon intervened and made it so it would be after college. Since it was just 4 more years, the Phoenix house accepted. What 4 more years for a species that lives for 10,000? Another month passed and here I am again waiting for Riser to appear again. A familiar orange magic circle appeared on the floor again. This time there were 2 people. Riser himself and his queen Eubelina, the future bomb queen. Eubelina is a voluptuous woman with long, wavy purple hair that falls all the way down her back and matching eyes. At the front, the right side of her hair falls over her breast and covers her right eye, while the left side falls near the top of her skirt. Her attire is a dress consisting of a navy blue tunic top with gold accents and a pale blue skirt with open sides, black shoes, and overmatching thigh-high stockings with garter belts. The top reveals much of her cleavage, and is held with a gold choker with blue and red jewels. However, she wore a cold smile on her face. Riser looked pissed. Like he would be anywhere but here. Which I totally get. I let out a loud sigh and summon wine bottles. Riser, I would say it's good to see you, but I had hoped it would be under better circumstances. I won't apologize for Rias's actions because it's not my place to. I just hope you don't take out your anger on me. Come sit down and drink. You will need it for later. Riser and Eubelina glared at me before Riser sighed and raised his hand signaling Eubelina to stand down. It's good to see you again, Kiba. It was only after it happened that I remembered your advice. I didn't expect an heiress of such a big house to act like such a brat. He sits down and Eubelina pours wine for him. What did your family say? Suck it up and play nice with Rias. Riser gritted his teeth. Eubelina also tensed up. Her king was humiliated in front of the whole underworld and the brat didn't even apologize. Sucks to be you, man. Oh, and Eubelina, make yourself comfortable at least until they get here. I'm not exactly on good terms with them. Riser perked up on that. I have been meaning to ask. Why did you try and help me? Servants obey their masters no matter what. Why would you risk helping me? You could be punished for that. He was grateful and confused by my actions. She had the chance to help me, but instead she let me die, then revived me as a devil. I made a deal with the Gremory house. I would only fight for her. I'm not obligated to do anything else. Even me being here is mostly because I'm a bit bored. He frowned when he heard how I was reincarnated. Guess that fact wasn't public. It's looked down upon when devils reincarnate servants like that. We are devils, sins are our thing, so it's kinda expected of us to take an opportunity like that. But doing it in such a way shows your skill as a king and a leader. So most people try to avoid it, he says while looking at his wine glass. I convinced most of my peerage personally. I sought out people who share my hobbies. Most of my peerage, including myself, are hedonists. So the rumors that you force your peerage to sleep with people in exchange for favors are, I say offhandedly. He actually gets angry at that and spits out, are pure bullshit. I only ask them, if they want to do it, it would be of their own free will. They get to satisfy their own urges and I get political favors. As far as I know, Rias thinks this is her fate. Like I'm that stupid. If I try something like that, her brother would kill me regardless of his position and the consequences. And there we go. The whole shit from canon is mostly the parents' fault and Rias being a stubborn brat. I get that you are mad. But humiliating the other party isn't really the best way to try and get out of the arranged marriage. You got it, rough pal. You have no idea. Riser drowns his glass and then stops for a moment. Why is it so comfortable speaking to you? I usually never act like this when I'm with others. I actually facepalm at that. Freaking devil culture. It's because you mostly hang out with devils of similar political standing. You always want something from each other. Their political support, goods, favors, etc. I on the other hand don't want anything from you. I say with total honesty. I just need a drinking buddy. Staying cooped up in this house when I don't like anyone was getting on my nerves. I still drink alone, but that's boring and depressing. I don't want to waste my second life being an antisocial shut-in. But that's normal. He looks even more confused. I facepalm again. Never mind. It's a human thing. That only happens among noble humans. Normal people just go out to have fun. No other political reason, no backstabbing. Getting drunk and having a blast. That is normal human behavior. Tell me, when was the last time you actually fun at one of your meetings? I need more wine. Well, there was that one time when a bar fight happened. The other time was when we swapped queens for a night. The Egyptian queen was very kinky. And he froze. He probably realized the number of boring and political parties was a lot more than his fun ones. Smack. Oh you, that was a strong face palm. I would do it too if I realized just how much time and opportunities I missed. I need something stronger than this wine. I take a look at the dozens of empty bottles behind the couch. I agree, we ain't gonna get drunk and it's almost time for Rias to come down. I grab the wild meat I swiped from the monster forest. There are intelligent monsters. And where there is life there is alcohol. The Bear King was pissed when he found out. I heard him rampaging 20 kilometers away. As an alcoholic, it would be heresy not to drink it. And I get to satisfy my greed and gluttony. Even though pride is my major sin, I do try to satisfy the rest. As far as I'm told, devils have to control their sins and try not to let the sins control them. Which is the biggest bullshit propaganda I have heard. All pure-blood noble devils commit as much sin as possible. That's why Sirafal has so many headaches. I can only assume as you gradually indulge in your sins, you slowly become more powerful, similar to the contracts they gain from humans. So me, Riser and Yubelina started to drink the ridiculously toxic wild mead. Before we heard the sound of footprints, I smirked at Riser and pointed at Yubelina. He returned the smirk, put her on his lap and they started making out. I stored away my delicious wild mead. Just in time for the door to slam open and Rias and company arrived. Rias looked furious at the sight of Riser and Yubelina making out. You know, maybe the trap vampire had the right idea. Close yourself in your room and avoid Rias. I should visit Wimpy Dio Brando. Some computer skills would be nice to have for when we enter the human world. Rias exploded with insults and history repeats itself. Only this time Riser used a wind spell to throw the drink back at Rias. And he took Yubelina with him on his date just to piss Rias off. All I can say is that is entertaining to watch the videos on DeviNet. Wonder if Issei will be able to beat Riser this time? Nah, he is getting destroyed. It works in my favor if Riser wins. Well, time to go back to training. I have been slacking off a bit. But I am fully healed and it's time to go back to grinding. Number A/N. FUK. I got home, I was all tired and shit. Wasn't as really capable to write. So I'm going to take a 2-hour nap to rest. I set 2 alarms. I woke up at 9 p.m. I slept like 5 to 6 hours. Really bike. I lost the whole day basically. Now for some of the most common questions. Romance? Yes, there will be romance in the FIC. A story without romance will fail eventually. But I don't know with who. Definitely not anyone from Rias's or Sana's peerage. Harem? No idea honestly. I assume at some point. But that's just because this is a DxD FIC. It's hard to see any DxD MC end up with a single woman. Yes, he will leave Rias's peerage. No, he won't get evil pieces. Only those who accept and are a part of the current government get them. Chapter 11, Train. Well, I guess this is goodbye. Rias along with her peerage was standing outside the mansion. Including me, of course. But I had my earphones on listening to music. I could still hear their conversations, but instead of wasting my time, I was listening to a new album that was just released. And judging by the glares I was receiving, this was very rude. Well, I don't give a shit. Frankly, I can't wait to leave. I haven't made any progress for the mission I got in exchange for a new life. To be fair, I was stuck in the underworld. The only way I know in or out is by this stupid train. Which will change soon. I have left tons of markers in the underworld. And I will be leaving at least one in every major city in the world. We expect you to behave yourself. And act as a proper governor of Kuoh along with Sana. Everything you do reflects on the Gremory family name. Zidicus said in a commanding voice. One that the head of house uses. Rias, we know how much you want to experience life as a human. But don't forget you are an heiress. You need to start taking it more seriously and start training. Vain Lana looked at her daughter hopefully. If she didn't clean up her act, then she would have to face the consequences. Rias just scoffed slightly, ignoring their words. Father, Mother, I understand my responsibilities very well. You don't have to worry. Both Zidicus and Valina looked at each other. They know she wasn't going to listen to them. But at least they tried. Sertsks and Grafia were standing next to them. Sertsks had a warm smile on his face while Grafia had her cold look as usual. Rias-chan, I hope you take things a bit more seriously. But other than that, good luck. We will see each other again during the school break. You know, for a family that claims to care about their servants, they sure do ignore us a lot. I mean, they have only been talking to Rias the entire time. We quickly get on the train. Bye. Rias waves her hand. Sertsk's office. Grafia and Okita were standing in front of the desk with Sertsk's doing paperwork. Okita, your latest report on Kiba, please. Okita the old knight stood respectfully, before starting his report. There is no other way to say this. So I will be blunt. Kiba is one step away from high class. There was a 1-minute pause for the people to register what that actually meant for them. That's impossible. There hasn't been a reincarnated devil that grew that fast. Especially one with such a mediocre sacred gear, Grafia exclaimed. I know. That's why it's so surprising. In just a few years he went from a newborn devil to a high-class one. And given his attitude toward us, it's a problem, Okita gruffed, then continued. I don't think the obedience seal has any effect on him at all, given his strength. Honestly, he should be pretty even with Rias. Sertsks rubbed the bridge of his nose. The blame lies with Rias, and don't you start, Sertsks. If she had trained even a little, the obedience seal would have had a greater effect. That, and she just spoils her peerage instead of training them and sorting out their issues. Grafia stated with a frown. Sertsks just lets out a long sigh, clearly exhausted by the situation he has found himself in. I know, FIA. But both Mother and me have tried to convince her to start taking her training seriously. It's quite sad that Kiba is the only one who actually trains, and look where that attitude got him. Knocking on the doors of a true high-class devil. Not like those pieces of shit in the council that take that title just because they were born into nobility. And Kiba is the one with the least potential among Rias's peerage. Grafia looked at him with her eyes narrowed. Sertsks, if she goes on like this she will be forced to marry Riser. You can't keep blocking them forever. I know. I know. But she is my little sister. I have to do what I can. Sertsks sighed again. Grafia and Okita kept quiet, but both of them knew that it was because he was such a siscon. So much so that his and Grafia's marriage was breaking apart. On the train, everybody is excited. Sana and her peerage are here as well. Konako was with them, but she was eating sweets. The only ones who were away from the group were me and Gasper, who was wearing a Dio Brando mask. Courtesy of yours truly. Why? Because I find it hilarious. Frankly, the little dude is the only person I talk to in the entire house. And I severely underestimated him. He is not a hacker. He is the hacker. The kid has more hacking talent in him than all the sacred gear and bloodline shit. Ajoka would freak out if he knew half of what he could do. The little bugger hacked into the Pentagon for fun. I know because I was there when he was trash-talking their firewalls. It was amusing, not gonna lie. Especially since he is so shy. But the moment he gets behind a laptop it's like his personality changes. It's very funny to watch. I was laying on the very expensive and luxurious train bed, relaxing from all the stress. I have been training a lot lately. Mostly balance breaker training. And I unlocked a drive. Yep. I unlocked a freaking equivalent of a juggernaut drive. The only problem is, it's still unstable and it takes a buttload of power to use. Even with my ultimate class level of strength. Low ultimate but still strong as hell. Meh, I'll fix it soon enough. I'm pretty happy with my current level of strength. Especially compared to other people. When I get to Kuoh I can finally start hunting the scum from the church. But for now. Sleep. A/N. Kiba has long passed high class. That's just what they know of his power. I tried posting on FFN, fanfic.net. Corrupted text. It's really pissing me off. Drop some stones if you like the FIC. Number. Regular swords from Sword Birth will be tier 1. Basic elemental swords. With just one concept. Like fire sword. Acceleration etc. Balance breaker swords are tier 2. They are the special swords. 2 or more concepts. Naturally, they take a lot more power to make and use. Chapter 12, Kuoh. Kuoh is boring. Like there is really not a lot here to do. When we got here there was a building waiting for us. A whole building. Guys on one floor, girls on the other. So me and the hacker version of Dio Brando were room to room. The city proved to be too much for the little guy, so he locked himself in the room. He gets his food delivered by magic. Since Rias and Kendo started school they got the orc building. Rias decided it would be better for him to be in orc. Since they will be spending the majority of their time there. We started making contracts. That was our main income. Like her parents didn't send her enough money. The contrast is mostly so the peerage members get stronger by doing practically nothing. And so they can increase their standing in Devil Society. They take a bit of the employer's mana each time they do a contract. 1 or 2 won't make a difference. But do 100, 1,000. And there will be a noticeable rise in strength. Not like it will make a difference to me, that is only applied to low-class devils. Rias did the contracts that wanted to know about some artifacts. Kendo took the CEOs of different companies. I don't know why but she gives them massages while dressed in a dominatrix outfit. Konako took the gamers and anime fans. Gasper got the online deals. Which was just right up his area of expertise. He makes the most money. Like all of us combined couldn't catch up to Gasper. And finally, there was me. I got the MILFs. Both housewives and career women. I mostly got babysitting jobs, cooking and cleaning. But it does come with its perks. Like lonely MILF kind of perks. A little bit of charm from my side and they find themselves fucked silly in their bed. Yep. I'm awesome. And since I started satisfying my lust, I could feel myself getting stronger. Not the power-up type. The type that clears roadblocks ahead of me. I find training to be much easier now. That's why devils try to commit as much sin as possible. Oh, and Riser proved once again that he is a true bro. Once he found out I'm in the human world he called me over to the nearest city and we got drunk as hell. In the bar. Me, Riser and his peerage were drinking our asses off. I'm glad you have a lot more freedom now that you are in the human world. Riser said as he shots the tequila glass. Me too, now I can get out and actually do shit. The best part is the contracts. I got all the MILFs and let me tell you some of them are lonely. What kind of devil would I be if I didn't take advantage of that? I grin wildly recalling the best moments. Nice. A toast to you for losing your virginity. Which would have happened earlier if it wasn't for you staying with the red-headed bitch and her family. He raised his glass and everybody followed. Cheers. So how you doing, Ravel? Hope you haven't been under too much pressure from dealing with all of Riser's paperwork, I say, making Ravel raise her head and Riser shrug. He was totally unashamed by piling up all of his paperwork on Ravel. I'm doing fine, Kiba. I might not look it but I'm very good at things like that. I'll probably be the one that takes over the business side of the Phoenix family. Well, a part of it. Honestly, our father and mother handle the politics. My oldest brother handles the rating games. And all the business is handled by Rivalana-sama, who works 24/7 on finances. He already started giving me some of his easier tasks so I can get experience in them. Ravel said politely while drinking her spritzer, wine and mineral water. Good for you. The Phoenix house is in good hands. You are so young yet so much more responsible than your brother, I say while pointing to Riser, who was making out with the girls that were dressed like maids. Ravel just sighs at the sight, already used to it after seeing it before. Many times. You get used to it after a while. My brother only has to fight in rating games to bring prestige to our family. He is useless for anything other than that. Wow, harsh. But true. Riser gets up and starts doing poses. Bear King's wild meat is the best. Ha 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 ha, I am the best. Riser starts flexing his muscles and his peerage were clapping and cheering him on, increasing his ego. I look at Ravel looking embarrassed by her brother's actions. And I start to think. Didn't Ravel get a crush on Issei and then join his peerage later on? Well, let's do something about that. I lean down in front of her and steal a quick kiss. I stay just long enough for Ravel to remember the feeling. She turned bright red. WWW what? SHHHHH. I put my finger on my lips and wink at her, which causes steam to literally come from her ears, making me chuckle. And Isama, if I may be excused. I have something to do. She quickly manages to say it all, before making a teleportation circle and disappearing from our sight. What was that about? Drunk Riser asks me, to which I only shrug my shoulders. After another 20 minutes and all of us were drunk. Like some of us could barely stand. Our devil bodies were trying to flush out the alcohol. But that wasn't just any ordinary alcohol we drank. It also made us very horny. Riser and Eubelina stripped down and started fucking on the goddamn table. Riser saw Eubelina's breasts were bouncing all over. But I was too busy to look at her. And I and Lee the cat girls decided to reward me for being such a good friend to Riser. Kiba, Naya and I started to kiss and lick my neck. You are very well equipped. Naya. Lee unzipped my pants, pulled back her red hair and engulfed my member. Lee, no fair, Naya. Leave some for me. And I climbed down and I had two twin cat girls enthusiastically giving me a blowjob. And judging by how horny they are, we will do a lot more than this. Life is good. Chapter 13, The Hunt Begins. Finally away from Kuoh. Rias and the rest have a girls' day out. It's finally time for me to start doing my part of the deal. Kill anyone involved with the Holy Sword project. I'll hit them church by church and gather information about my targets. I know who they are, but I don't know where they are hiding. The higher targets are impossible for me right now. The Pope and the angels that serve under Archangel Uriel. Those are both impossible. Since killing either of them will start a war. And if by some chance I am found out, an entire faction will be hunting me. Not to mention Archangel Uriel. The Holy Flame. Man, I can't wait for Kokabeel to appear. I will enjoy slaughtering Valper. I will see what I can do with the Excalibur fragments. So yet. Got to start from the bottom and go up from there. First target. Some church in Japan does some shady shit and acts as an outpost for the church. The church is about 50 kilometers away from Kuoh. As I have never been there, I will need to go on foot. I couldn't teleport without the security runes in the magic circle informing the Gremory family. I have been working on making my own. But the progress is slow. I can use another circle, the basic one that all beginners use. But that's only for the basic spells. Human mages need to calculate everything when they use magic. Devils just need to imagine it. Both methods have their pros and cons. Naturally, teleportation requires a lot of calculation. And you must know the destination precisely. Imagine you teleport to someone's house by mistake. That's why devils use those leaflets. When normal people activate them, it sends their coordinates back to us. And only then can we teleport. So going by foot it is. It's not like it took me very long. The church wasn't that far away and I'm a knight. Even without the evil piece boosting my speed, I'm already pretty damn fast. In less than an hour, I reach my destination. It was a well-kept church judging by its outward appearance. Freshly painted walls. Their bushes were neatly trimmed. They clearly had money to spare. I create some ordinary iron daggers and sword, then I create and use my shadow sword. It allows me to hide my aura better and merge with the shadows a bit, making it that much more difficult to spot me. I keep to the shadows and enter the church. I slowly check the common spots for hiding something. Even went as far to look for another room. I found a door in the floor on the podium where the priest would stand. It was somewhat well hidden and people never went near the place as it was only for the priest. There were empty cages. And they were not clean. I could smell both dried and fresh blood. Human trafficking. Of course. I knew they were doing some shady shit. But I thought it was just drug trafficking or money laundering. I'm not even remotely surprised. Well, that means everybody here is dead anyway. I have no idea where the people on the list are. I just went to the nearest church to get some info. Now I'm going to kill everybody in the damn building when they come back. I slowly exit the room and continue to snoop around. I heard some noise on the other side of the church. Interesting, there's someone here at this hour? Get in there, a loud voice was heard, then a quick thud. Crying and sobbing soon followed. They were bringing children here. Oh, they are definitely dead. No magic weapons. They will leave some sort of trace. Even if it's minimal. Old school, iron weapons will do the trick. With my physical strength. They won't even be able to see my afterimage before they are dead. Let's see 7 of them all in all. All of them have the same power as a new low-class devil. But that's because of their weapons. Light swords and guns. The head priest is stronger than the rest. Still low class but slowly going toward high level. He still needs a while before he can break through the mid-class. I will wait for all of them to put the children in cages. Less likely for something to go wrong. All the cages were controlled by magic. To avoid anything being traced back to me, I need one of these idiots to open up the cages. 15 minutes later and all the kids are in the cages. Man, I hate kids, one of them grumbled. Really? I love kids. They get me a lot of money, the fat one laughed. Shut it. The buyer wants them as soon as possible, the head priest grumbled as he flipped through his book. As I was behind him I could see the contents. It was a book about holy magic. That explains why he is stronger than the rest. Welp, they are all dead. I take out the ordinary iron daggers I made before. Bye. Whoosh. Thud x6. 6 heads fell on the ground. What the? Bang, the man didn't even have a chance to say anything as he was punched in the chest and sent flying into a wall. I go and grab him from behind by the neck. Please let me live, he started to sob, tears and snot streamed down his face. Open the cages. One wrong move and you are dead, I changed my voice a bit. To him it probably sounded something out of a horror movie. Once he heard my voice he paled and started to sob harder. He slowly lifted his arm and a small magic circle materialized on his hand. I could tell that it was for opening the cages. Down in the hidden room. Clank x20. I did what you asked. Please let me go. I swear I won't tell and crack. I broke his neck. Like hell, I'd believe a man who sells children. Even without that. There can be no survivors. Now to grab their gear. Who knows when it might come in handy. I start with the head priest. I grab his magic book, but I found something in his chest pocket. I pulled it out only to find a dark blue crystal with a weird diamond-like shape. Isn't this the holy element? The one that grants people the ability to use holy swords. How did a scrub like this get one? Oh right. The church found Valper's research and excommunicated him. But they still kept researching and found a way to take the element without killing the patient. Maybe that's why they were excommunicated. Whatever. I'll use it later. Holy magic and sword will have less effect on me now. Maybe if I take enough I can wield holy swords like the ReKiba. Maybe even make them. Wonder if I can make a sword that takes this stuff from them. Take the holy element from my enemies. One of the braver children left the cage and started to go up the stairs. I leave a note with instructions for them and I disappear and head to the office. What happens to them now, isn't my problem. After searching through all the drawers and cabinets, including the secret drawers, I found absolutely nothing. I check again and all the kids have left the church. I grab the gasoline I prepared and poured it all over the place. One spark letter and boom, you have a fire that will spread and burn like crazy. No magic used whatsoever. On the entrance of the church, I leave a pentagram on the ground. The symbol of the 5 clans that still worship the Shinto gods. They are on my Ojas. That will make an even bigger mess. The Shinto pantheon and the church are not on good terms. Mostly about who gets the most faith. The church has been getting a lot more Japanese people to convert to Christianity. Izanami. The goddess of death in the Shinto pantheon is especially pissed. Since the souls will go to heaven instead to her. Even if the church says they are being framed. The underground room will still survive the fire. This will be a political nightmare. Well, time to go home. I'll hit another church 3 days from now. Number A/N. Next chap time skip. It's going fast. Once the good swords start appearing, I'll make a list of what he can make. Chapter 14, Kuoh Academy. First day at school. Kya. Who is that? He is so handsome. He is like a prince. Sigh, this was always unavoidable. High school. Now I have to waste my time with dumb hormonal teenagers. That in a whole club of secret BL lovers that love to draw dojins. With Kiba as the original character. That means I will probably get the same treatment. This is the year that Kuoh Academy becomes co-ed. Tisk. Look at that pretty boy Matsuo. He thinks he is such a hot shot. I agree Motohama. Bishonen like him should just go die. Don't you think so, Issei? You are right, my brothers. With all the pretty boys out of the way, the path to boobs will be clear. Oppai. 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 Wow. They really are scumbags. It's like I'm watching Neanderthals. If anything, the anime watered down their talks. How they survived until their second year I will never know. Rias and Sana probably had something to do with it. Ring-ug. Time for the orientation. Then the first homeroom. Any, what's your name? Where are you from? Are you single? As soon as I sat down in the classroom I was assaulted by questions. Just like the OG show. I am in a different class than Issei. Thank Big for small mercies. Oh, wait, he is dead. Thank you, Michael. Bang. The door slams open. Startling everyone. A young woman with long brown hair, brown eyes, a well-endowed voluptuous body entered the classroom. Everyone take their seats. Homeroom has begun. Everyone's attention was on the beautiful stern teacher. My name is Sae Chibashira. I will be your homeroom teacher for the next few years. Wait, what? Isn't this the chick from Classroom of the Elite? I only saw like one episode. What is she doing here? I take a good look at her, then it clicks to me. Of course. She is a bombshell. That woman looked like she belonged in the DxD universe in the first place. Maybe this is that guy's idea of a practical joke? The door opens and Issei comes to the classroom. Uhu. Mega Oppai. Issei ogles at the teacher's chest. She turns to him and just sends him a glare that would freeze hell over. I'm not even joking. Issei froze in place. And there is absolutely nothing supernatural about that woman. She is just a regular human. But more importantly, what is that idiot doing here? Good day. Sensei, I have been told that I should have been put in this class. Was there some sort of mistake? Fuck. Why? Why? The teacher just smiles at him. But it was a cruel sadistic smirk. No, this is how it was supposed to be. You see, we know that you and your two friends are troublemakers. So we decided that all three of you should be separated. And if you continue your antics here, you will be expelled, am I clear? Issei just gulps and nods. Good. Now go find an empty seat. I look as Issei went to sit down in the back row. This is surprising. Things aren't going as they did in the original plot. To be fair, breaking apart the perverted trio is a smart move. They should have done this in the OG plot as well. After classes, club members were asking people to join them. I was approached by some girls. The current Kendo Capitan and two Kendo girls, Murayama and Katase. Hi, are you interested in joining the Kendo Club? I apologize, but I have already joined the Occult Research Club. But I do practice Kendo. Yeah, right. I train with my sword to kill people, not to compete in some tournaments. Real swordsmanship has long died out. But I would love to visit the Kendo Club. Maybe we could even spar. Really? Both girls said excitedly. They just joined the club and now a handsome boy said he would be coming over often. Sure. I'll stop by later. But I have a meeting with my club right now, I smile at them. Great. We will be waiting for you. Both of them run off to tell the others in their club. Sigh. Teenagers. So naive. They only learn when they make a big mistake. And it usually takes a while to sink in. Welp, their pain my gain. Occult Research Club. I enter our base only to be ambushed right at the door. Yufufu. Would you like some tea, Kiba-kun? Akeno asks seductively, as she walks in front of me, making her ridiculous chest jiggle. Yes please, I just give her a fake smile. She seems a bit disappointed that she hasn't gotten a reaction from me. She has been trying this for a while. I sit down at one of the empty chairs. How was your first day? Rias asks me. Her eyes were gleaming. Tell me. I want to know. What did she expect? That I had some sort of anime encounter? I flirted with some girls. I deadpan at her. Akenso slowly sat near me. Era. Looks like our Kuoh is a bit naughty, Kendo whispers in my ear, as she pushed her breast against my arms. You know this is getting old. Especially from someone like her who has no experience with men. But I do know that she and Rias play around with each other to learn. Apparently, this is common among young heiresses. Sana and Tsubaki do it as well. Since both Rias and Sana need to stay virgins. But honestly, having any more interaction with the Gremory peerage than I already do brings me no benefits. I really don't want to deal with all of their traumas. Are Kendo and Rias hot as hell? Yes. Do I want to bang them? Yes. Do I really want to deal with all of the bullshit consequences and headaches after that? No. I have other girls to satisfy my lust. No need to get involved with the problematic ones. So unless Kendo wants to cut the bullshit, get over her freaking daddy issues and have sex just for fun, I'm ignoring her. Konako will be here shortly. And Gasper is already in the basement. Rias giggles seeing me ignore Kendo, who took another seat and pouted cutely at me. After a few minutes Konako arrives with a laptop. She opens it and starts voice call. Hello everyone. Gasper's face took the screen. Yo Dio Brando in training. How's it going? I wave to the resident hacker. Hello Kiba-kun. Things are good. Especially since I don't have to come out now. He smiles brightly. That's not something you should be happy about. Dio Brando isn't supposed to be afraid of people. Even if it's a pathetic low-budget cross-dresser version of him. But then again, it means he was such a legendary character. People just decided to copy most of his traits. He is probably rolling in his grave from this. Asterisk clap. Clap asterisk. Rias claps her hands to get our attention. She could have just cleared her throat. She really treats us like pets and children. It's demeaning. Especially coming from a soiled brat like her. Now there have been a lot of incidents lately. Someone is targeting the church. There have been many attacks. Mostly in Europe. But there are a few churches that have been hit in Japan as well. The culprit kills the priests. Takes anything of value. And burns down the church. Hey! Free money is free money. That caused all kinds of political nightmares. Especially with the culprit leaving behind the mark of Abe no Seimei. Which directly brings the 5 principal clans into the fold. Kendo shifts a little when the clans were mentioned. Leaving behind that mark is one of the best things I have done. Truly a big brain moment. A red pentagram mark. Now angels are our enemies. Even if we are in a cold war. Now that someone is attacking them. They naturally assume devils are involved. Like always. And since we are one of the few devils in Japan that have a high standing. We are being monitored by the church and the 5 clans. From a distance. My brother told me they are forbidden from entering the city. Noticed them the moment they got within 10 kilometers of the city outskirts. I set up sensor swords there mainly for Azazel and other big guns who may be a threat to me. But they still ping me if they catch anyone supernatural approach. So we just ignore them, Gasper asked, not seeing the point of this meeting. I mean, if it was for just this she could have sent an email or told us separately. Meetings are for when big decisions are being made. Yep, Rias nods her head. Great. Thanks for wasting everyone's time. Is that it? I drawl out. Yep. I had some time to kill before meeting Sana. So meeting dismissed. Rias gave a bright smile before she started to walk to the student council with Kendo. 10. 9. I start counting down to calm myself. Breathe. Must suppress the urge to hit. Well, that was a waste of time, Gasper grumbled. I'm going back to work. Bye Konako-chan, Kiba-kun. Bang. I slam my head on the table. Even the wimp agrees that Rias is stupid. I can't wait to leave the spoiled brat. Maybe I can make it so they speed up the wedding. I don't know how long I can take this bullshit. Number A/N. MC losing brain cells just by being around Rias XD. Sae Chibashira. From classroom of the elite. She will fit right in DxD with her ridiculous chest size. Chapter 15, Wasting Away. Second day in Kuoh Academy. This is so boring ugh. I'm so used to training every day that sitting still like this for the majority of the day is killing me. I'm definitely using magic and skipping most of my classes. If Rias wants to experience human high school, she can go right ahead. Kiba the math teacher called me out. Yes. What does he want? Am I boring you? Seeing as you aren't paying any attention. You want the truth or the lie that makes you feel better? I answer back, making him stumble. The truth. He yelled out. Then yes. You are boring me. I deadpan at him. Well, let me see you solve this, smart guy. He points at the blackboard where he wrote down the problem. Sigh. I stood up, grabbed a white chalk and wrote down the answer. Devils only need to use imagination to use magic. But Ajoka uses calculation to lower the cost of his spells. And his biggest magic, the Kankara formula, uses math, physics, chemistry in combination with his imagination to change the world around him. So I obviously studied a lot of math. Done. Can I go back to my seat now? I asked the teacher, who just went red and gritted his teeth. Yes. I hate this place. I'll go mess around with the Kendo girls. At least that will be somewhat amusing. Kendo club. I enter the Kendo club. Ha! Isn't that the new freshman? Kiba-kun. What is he doing here? Wow, he is so handsome. Kiba-kun. You really came, the Kendo captain said happily, Miyamura and Katase following behind her. Of course. I said I would. So here I am. I give them a small smile, making them swoon. Katase stepped up with a hopeful look. Kiba-kun, would you mind sparring against me? She tilted her head and looked at me with puppy dog eyes. Pathetic. I would love to, I answer, making the girl beam. Great. Let's get you some gear. Before she went to get the bulky Kendo gear, I stop her. No need for the armor. I only need a shina, bamboo sword. I have previous training with swords. But we never wore armor. I prefer fighting without it. I give them a smile to treasure them. Are you sure? You can get bruises if you get hit by a shina. The Kendo Capitan frowned a bit. Isn't he underestimating us a bit too much? Yes. I'm sure. She nodded at me before turning to Katase. Katase, don't hold back. She caused Katase to flinch a bit from her tone. Hi. She saluted like a solider, making the other members giggle at her. Kiba-kun. Prepare yourself. Katase got into her stance and pointed her sword at him. 1 minute later. Asterisk huff. Huff. Huff asterisk. Katase was lying on the ground, covered in sweat. Everybody was looking at the scene with a shocked expression. Katase only lasted a minute. And it was so overwhelming that she could only do her best to survive. Scary, I thought I was going to die. Katase started to laugh and giggle. Me next. Miyamura raised her hand high in the air. 2 minutes later. Damn it. I thought I saw through his moves, Miyamura grumbled as she was laying on the ground covered in sweat. While Kiba didn't look tired at all. Would you like to spar with me? The Capitan stepped forward with fire in her eyes. I would love to, but I need to leave right now. I have to meet up with some friends soon. My words caused them to sigh in disappointment. The Capitan was the same. Very well. But I will wait for you to come back so we can spar. Of course. I wouldn't dream of disappointing Misaki-chan. I winked at her, causing her to blush. Who told him my name? She turned to her members with a red face, causing the others to run away from her. Misaki from Kaiku-wa Maid-sama. Party with Riser. Kiba. Uar late. Riser slurs while his arms were around the cat girls. I stop and I point at him. How much has he drank? This place only serves normal alcohol. And I know we finished my last stash of the wild mead. 30 bottles of wine, just by himself. Kubalina answered. Her face was flushed and she hiccuped. Nice. While I was slowly losing my mind in that school, they were having fun here. I'm never stepping foot in there again. Riser was fucking the Chinese girl and the night girl, Isabel. Yubaluna started masturbating as Riser was busy with the rest. Luna? Want to have a go at it? I look at the girl, not even bothering to hide my lust. She looks up at me. Her eyes were glazed over and her face was flushed. She looked at Riser, who was having fun, then back at me. She stood up and seductively moved her hips towards me as she walked to me. She licked her lips before straddling me and dropping her ass in my lap, and she started to grind on me. I don't think both of us have done it yet. I admit. I'm looking forward to this. Especially after all the praise Nei and Lee have given you, cat girls. I grab her ass and squeeze hard, making her moan out. Well, I have to make sure I meet your expectations. Then I put my hand on her upper back and make her lean forward. She immediately pressed her lips against mine and pushed her tongue in my mouth. I did the same, and so started the battle for dominance. She pulled out my dick and impaled herself on it. Moaning in my mouth. Last one standing gets a favor from the loser, she says through the moans. Deal, I groan out, before both of us gave in to our lust. 4 hours later. Easiest favor I ever got. I'm ultimate class while she is at the beginning of high class. I'm standing in front of a bar in the outskirts of Kuoh. It actually took me a while to find this. Black Dog Bar. Nice, I just left one bar only to enter another. Ah, bar hopping. Those were the good old times. Before I started my work as a mercenary and got myself killed. I just remembered it existed a month ago. So I began searching for it. Which turned out to be difficult. The place officially didn't exist. No one knew where it was. No one has seen it. And I totally get why now. The wards surrounding this place are impressive. It hides them from the general population. But if any people stumble across it, they will be able to see it. If they leave right away, they will forget about it. If they go in and want to come back again, they will only know the general location and would have to find it again. Why is it set up like this? I have absolutely no idea. Azazel is a mad genius and I'm not going to waste time trying to understand his thoughts. Well, time to meet Team Black Dog. Number AN. BTW, I think the devil wing design is horrible. They just doodled some wings on them, and they come out from the waist and sometimes the shoulder blades. Yeah, that ain't gonna fly with me. I'm going to imagine them more bat-like. I'll put a good pic if I can find it. Chapter 16, Team/Dog. I enter the bar. The inside was totally different than what I was expecting. It was a lot more high class than what I was expecting. The seats were sofas with dark red leather arranged in a U shape. The lighting was low all around the bar. The stage at the center was empty. There were also a few stools at the bar. Same red leather theme. When I get to the bar, I take a good look at the bartender. He was a young man with short black hair and pale grey eyes. He wore a classic bartender uniform. White shirt with a black vest. His body build was average, but I could feel his power. It was compressed like mine. I could only tell because of how strong I am. An ordinary high class would just walk past him without noticing anything. So this is Tobio Accus, leader of Team/Dog, and holder of the Canis Lycaon. One of the 13 Longinus. Good evening. Aren't you a bit too young to be here? He smiles at me. He already noticed that I'm a devil. I can hide my strength, but I can't just hide my race. My demonic energy gives it away. I smile back at him. Aren't you a bit too strong to be playing bartender? One would think that a holder of one of the 13 would find better ways to pass the time. His smile disappeared from his face. He frowned at me. What do you want, devil? I just give him a smirk. The strongest drink you have in your food menu. He stumbled. Hey. You heard me. I came across this place by chance as I was bar hopping. I'm here to enjoy myself. I don't give a damn who owns a place. You don't make any trouble for me. I don't make any trouble for you. He looked dumbfounded. But your words. Can't believe he fell for that. Messing with people is so much fun. I wasn't making any threats. I was genuinely curious. Why does a man who has the power to kill a god work as a bartender? His head dropped a bit and he let out a long sigh. Boredom. Here's the menu. I'll get your drink. He threw me the menu and left. I open it up and start looking. The prices were quite fair. Surprisingly. Some fries and chicken nuggets sound like a good way to start. Beer as well. Yo, here's your drink. Special made for devils. I made it with Devil Springs vodka 80% vol as the base. Then added some supernatural drinks to it. He put down the drink. It was dark violet and glowing a bit. I could smell the aroma. It was nice. Great. Grab me a beer, some fries, and nuggets as well. Tobio nodded as he clicked his tablet. The food will arrive shortly. Using magic to cook makes it a lot faster. So who are you? Isaiah. But I'm currently going as Uedo Kiba. So refer to me as such. I'm a unwilling member of Rias Gremmarie's peerage. I answer simply. I'm sensing that you aren't happy with that. Tobio scratches his cheek. His words make me smirk a bit. Something like that. What about you? The welder of Canis Lycaon acting as a bartender because he is bored? Yeah, right. I scoff lightly. Hat. I'm Tobio Accus. But how did you know I have a Longinus? And which one at that? I'm quite proud of my ability to suppress my power, Tobio asks curiously. I can feel it. Call it a sixth sense. I know there is another one here. But I need to be in their presence a bit longer to tell which one they have. Tobio just whistles. You can tell that much? Impressive for a devil. Well, she will be on stage in a minute. So try guessing which one she has. You have 12 guesses remaining. Just as Tobio stopped speaking, the lights turned on and landed on a figure who was walking out the staff door. Tap dot tap dot tap. Her heels echoed across the bar. She a beautiful voluptuous young woman with long flowing blonde hair and sapphire blue eyes. She was in her mid-20s. Her charm ensnared all the men in the bar. They couldn't take their eyes off her. If I didn't know any better, I would say she was a devil or a fallen just by her figure. But then she started to sing. And my head went blank. Her voice. It was so soothing and beautiful. Damn, she can sing, I mumbled, making Tobio smile. Rennie's voice is still one of the best I have heard over the years. I think only Gabriel is better than her. Someone sat down to my left. I turn around to see a tall man who looked like to be in his 20s with an average build, black hair, golden bangs and a black goatee. He had a lazy smirk on his face. Azazel. Well, fuck. My sensor swords were obviously useless. I'm going to need to work on those. Well, if it isn't the big bad fallen. What do I owe the pleasure? I smirk at him as I sip my drink. Damn, this is some strong stuff. Azazel shrugged his shoulders. Well, little accuse here pressed the panic button, so here I am. A quick silencing ward was placed and bang. Tobio slammed a glass of whiskey in front of Azazel with a neutral expression on his face. His eyes were closed and he had this small cold smile on his face. He leaned over the bar to stare directly at Azazel. Azazel. I merely gave you a heads up that a devil was here. Please don't over-exaggerate. You make it sound like I need your help. A black dog materialized near Tobio from the shadows. Woof. It barked, then glared at Azazel, making said fallen sweat drop. Damn. Isn't Azazel his boss? Tobio has more balls than I thought. Cough. Azazel cleared his throat. Ah. Well, yet. I was interested in meeting the devil that can find this place when no one of his kind ever did. So. Here I am. He gave us a weak smile, making Tobio face palm. I didn't expect it. But this dude really acts like this. A leader of a faction. Is a mad scientist who does things on a whim. And acts like a horny college student. I'm guessing that his commanders Shemhezai and Pinmu are actually the ones that are running Grigori. I pity them. Well, you aren't what I was expecting. When I think of the leader of Grigori, I look at the man who was ogling at Rennie with a lecherous smile, while sipping on his drink. Jiraiya of the DxD universe spotted. A perverted older man, who is a mentor to the main character. I didn't see it before. I thought it was just him faking it to throw people off their game. But this dude isn't interested in me at the slightest. Which is weird. Considering he is a sacred gear nut. Maybe he already has sword birth. While it is an uncommon sacred gear, it's not that rare. Do you know who I am? I asked the man. Hey? Oh yeah. Kiba Uetto. Formerly known as Isaiah, a survivor of the Holy Sword experiment. Which I know this because someone decided to put your old name in a file that can be easily accessed. Stupid move if you ask me. If you are going to hide someone's real name, at least make sure the real name isn't written down anywhere, and only a few number of people know it. I facepalm at that. Of course. These idiots can't even keep a secret. That file wouldn't be in Seraphal's office, wouldn't it? I can't help but ask. Azazel was surprised but answered with a big grin. Good guess. Just how many spies does Seraphal's office even have? Devils sure are easily led by greed. Anyway. You are the Knight of Rias Gremory. You have sword birth and that's about it really. He sounded unimpressed and disappointed. But. Of course. You feel weird. Like I'm missing something. At first I thought it was my imagination. But now that I have spent some time near you, I can tell. You are like Tobio, aren't you? You can conceal most of your strength. Most people, even powerful people like me, can only suppress our strengths by about one level. That means an ultimate class, for example, can only drop down to high class. I do nothing as I listen to him. He is right though. But I'm way more powerful than any ordinary devil. I should be a mid-class by normal standards, but I show off the power level of a person who just stepped in high class. So he should be satisfied with that. How the hell did he notice? Normally even people at my level wouldn't notice. But I'm different. Sacred gears are my thing. I have studied them for millennia. I know everything about them. Hell, I even made a few low-level ones. Your sword breath is giving off powerful signals. Way more than it should be possible for a gear of that level, he says with an ever-growing smirk on his face. That means the gear broke through its limits. There is no way you are just an ordinary devil that has just reached high class. He finishes off with a smug look on his face. Well, did not see that coming. He can pick up on sacred gear signals? Impressive, I compliment, making Azazel grin. But I suggest you keep all of this information a secret, I say casually. I wasn't trying to threaten him or anything. It was just a suggestion. Now why would I do that? Azazel frowns. He was a faction leader. And this little devil had the gall to tell him what to do. Because if you tell anyone, there is a chance the White One will hear about it and come after me. After all, a secret is only a secret if two people know about it. In this case 3. I point at Tobio, who only shrugs his shoulders. And believe me, anyone who attacks me for any reason whatsoever won't live to tell the tale, since the cat is out of the bag. Time for a different approach. Who and you believe that you can take care of the White Dragon Emperor? Azazel says mockingly. I just smirk at him, Vala Lucifer. His whole expression turns cold. Killing intent starts to leak from him. How do you know that? His voice was ice cold. Even Tobio shivered a little. I told you. A secret is only a secret when it remains between two people, or better yet with only one person. If more than two know about it, there is a high chance of somebody else learning about it. Now tell me. How many people know about your adoptive son's true lineage? He stays quiet. Too many, I assume. Otherwise, how would I have come across this information? And yes, I can take him on. Divine dividing is a great Longinus. But for it to work, the user must touch his opponent. Vala will be dead long before he ever manages to touch me. Azazel looks at me with doubt. I release a fraction of my condensed power directly on him. I felt him shudder for a second as his eyes went wide open. Even though I'm ultimate class, his base stats were higher than mine. That's without me using balance breaker. Azazel was just a bit stronger than Seraphal. The thing is a teen unleashing that power right next to him, that isn't what shocked him. He didn't shiver from my overall strength. He did it because of my potential and how dense my demonic energy was. You do understand what I'm saying, right? I give him the same smug look that he gave me. Translation. Do you want a guy like me to be your enemy? A guy who is mid-ultimate class at the age of 15. And was nearing high ultimate. Azazel grumbled. He knew he was cornered. If he remotely told anyone, well, he will probably tell Shemhezai and Pinmu. But that's fine. They run Grigory, so they need to know that sort of information. But if it was anybody else, there was a chance that Vala would hear about it. And as strong as Vala is, he isn't at my level. That, and he didn't want to make an enemy of a guy with so much potential. He couldn't kill me. I'm strong enough to run away. Once that happened, Vala finds out either way. And he ends up with an enemy with huge amounts of potential. Fine. You got a deal. Man, why do devils always get the freaks of nature? First Sertsksha and Ajilka. Now they have you. Life isn't fair, man. Azazel moped on the bar table. He was back to being the laxy fallen angel. Please, like you are one to talk. White Dragon Emperor. Canis Lycaon. Absolute demise, and who knows how many others. Don't try to play the pity card on me, I say as Tobio put down my food. Nice. I'm starving. Damn, got on the first guess. That's right, Rennie has absolute demise. Tobio poured himself a drink as well. Nice to see you two get along. Now if you will excuse me, I have to go and get chewed out by Shemhezai and Pinmu. Then I have to tell them another anomaly has appeared. He says while pointing at me with a lazy smile. I just raise my beer, good luck. Azazel smirks at my attitude and goes out the staff door. I just continue to enjoy my food while listening to Lavinia's voice. A/N. Word count 2280. The interaction with Azazel was weird. I know. But it's the best I got at the moment. Might. No. It will probably get rewritten once I get an idea about how to make it better. If you haven't already figured it out. This is an O world. I really wanted to do this concept where I switch up the characters and their alignments. If that makes sense. Riser was a scumbag. Now he is a neutral guy who wants to party and hates Rias for humiliating him. Chapter 17, Familiars. Occult Research Club. Everybody was gathered in the lobby. Even fake Dio. Who was hiding inside a box. Rias convinced him if he got a good familiar he would interact less with the real world. Nice going there, Red. Instead of helping him, you're pushing him back even further. Just what I would expect from her. Honestly, it's like all of her calories that should have gone to the brain went to her boobs. Okay everyone. As you know, it's our turn to go get our familiars. The wait list was long, but we finally get to go choose them, Rias says happily. I scoff mentally. Yeah right, like the spoiled princess couldn't have gotten the spot earlier. She refused her family's help and put down her fake name on the normal waiting list. What good is money, power, and prestige if you don't use it? She could have used her familiar to give out the stupid flyers instead of her wasting her time. Actually no, she didn't waste time. She just hired some of the magicians in town to do it for her. The ones that just discovered their magic and are lacking funds. So she spends money, her allowance, to do things that she could have done for free, to earn small amounts of cash from human clients. She is going into negative. Rias in a nutshell. All boobs. No brain. One more year. One more long and torturous year of being stuck with this girl. The rating game with Riser. Oh, how I wish that it could happen sooner. Sertx will do anything to get his sister out of that marriage. He is known as the strongest Siscon for nothing. I'll use his love for Rias to my advantage. Let's go everyone, Rias yells out as we enter the teleportation circle. Familiar forest. Enchanted forest. So this is the familiar forest. Impressive. The magic here is very strong. No wonder this is a monster breeding ground. They have everything that they would ever need to grow and survive. This place has existed for millennia. I wonder how the devils got a hold of it. Since they are in charge of deciding who gets to enter and in what order. Hello, I am Zanjuro. Master of. Ignore the Ash Ketchup knockoff Zanjuro or whatever his name is. A few minutes after he explained everything. Well, that was nice and all, but I believe I have a better chance at getting a familiar if I'm all alone. Before anyone could even say a word, I dash off in the forest. Ditching the Grimoires was a good decision. Peace and quiet for the next few hours. I'll take what I can get. Looking through, walk around the forest. See if there are any interesting things to get. Like special materials, wood, food, and fruits. I should keep these in my pocket dimension. It was hilariously easy to create one. Especially with the imagination power that devils have. You just take an object. One that has magical properties and is very resilient and expands the space inside it. Then you just use teleportation magic. To take and put things in. You wear that item like a necklace, bracelet, or a ring. It's not even teleportation, it's just simul. Switch magic? Summoning magic? I don't know. I just know it works. As I go along, take interesting stuff I find, meet a lot of beasts, beat them up but don't kill them. No need to piss of Tiamat. She is a lot stronger than me. I don't think I can win even with my drive. She has been alive for a long time. I have only trained like for 7 years. I'm proud at the level I have gotten. But I'm not some retard who overestimates himself and challenges everyone he sees. Interestingly, some dryads and nymphs giggled and waved at me. I'm starting to like this place. Oh right. Make a dagger so I can teleport back here when I can. Woo. I turned to the noise. That was a wolf. But it sounded different from any normal or magical wolves I have heard. I follow the sounds of battle. Once I got through the forest, I arrive at a clearing. 2 wolves were fighting each other. They were both the same species. They were both black as night, but their fur had a metallic sheen that you could see thanks to the moon. Each time they hit or clawed each other, it sounded like metal. Their fur was sharp as well. One of the wolves got blasted into a tree only to cut it up with its fur at the moment of impact. I have no idea what their name is, but I will be calling them blade wolves. Since their fur looks metallic and is sharp as hell. Surprisingly, both were high class in terms of strength. Clang! 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 After a few moments, only one wolf remained. It howled out. I decided this one was going to be my familiar. I left my hiding spot. The wolf immediately noticed me. but did not attack. I just took out the familiar contract. It was written on a magical parchment. It required a drop of blood from both of us. Both had to be willing to make this contract. Of course, most magical beasts are too proud to become someone's pet. So the norm is to beat the crap out of each other. If you win, you get a familiar. If you are alone and you lose, you become food. The wolf growled as soon as he saw the contract. He didn't waste any time dashing at me. I quickly put away the contract and made a sword to block the wolf's strike. I'm going to keep testing him. I was impressed by his previous fight. But I want to see where his limit is. After a few minutes of messing around, the wolf was injured but still kept on going. Yep, this guy will definitely be a good pet. Especially with his power. He could probably rip apart Rias. He is too fast for her to be able to hit him. Asterisk roar. Asterisk. An earth-shattering roar quickly stopped our fight. I had to plug up my ears as I was not expecting that. There is only one dragon here that can roar like that. Fuck. I entered Tiamat's territory. Don't tell me that was his plan? I quickly turned to the wolf who was shaking like a leaf. He looked like he was about to piss himself. Nope. Both of us lost track of our location. Just dumb fucking bad luck. Asterisk roar. Asterisk. Oh, she is pissed. We probably woke her up. The blade wolf, who was on his last legs, suddenly slammed his head on the ground, falling unconscious. He collapsed covered in wounds right in front of me. Sneaky little bastard. He is pinning it all on me. Who dares enter my territory? Chapter 18, Chaos Karma Dragon. Who dares enter my territory? The earth shook with each step. Out of the cave a giant dragon appeared. She was a pale blue western dragon with celestial blue scales. They shone brightly under the moonlight. Her aura made everything alive run in the other direction. This was the Chaos Karma Dragon. Tiamat. Great. Now I'm standing in front of a Dragon King. She is probably stronger than me. Even with my drive. Little devil. What do you think you are doing in my forest? She growled at me. Well, I was fighting this wolf so that he can become my familiar. We unknowingly entered your territory. Sorry about that. I scratched the back of my head. This really was a bit embarrassing. I suggest you be a bit more respectful. I could easily kill you where you stand, she growls at me. Her aura quickly pressed down on me. Well, you have lived for millennia. It's natural that you are stronger than me. But think about this. I am a reincarnated devil. I am only 15 this year. Yet I am ultimate class. In short 6 years. I went from a newly reincarnated devil to what you see now. Where will I be in another 20 years? 50? Do you think you can match me? Then I tried to bluff my way out. Dragons are prideful, but they respect strength. What I have accomplished hasn't been done in a long time. Only those heroes of the old have actually gotten stronger that fast. Tiamat was really surprised when she heard about my age. She quickly turned into her human form and stepped in front of me. She was a tall, beautiful woman with dark blue hair. She also had an hourglass figure that rivaled Vainlina's. Rias's mother. She was quite literally in my face. Personal space. Even if she is hot, a dragon being in your face is still a terrifying experience. Yes. I can feel your magical signature. Ajoka taught me how to tell the age of a devil. You truly have been a devil for only 6 years. Remarkable. Thank you. I have no idea what to say to that. This still doesn't change the fact that you are in my territory. She stands in front of me with no intention of backing down. Please. You couldn't care less. Otherwise, there wouldn't have been any animals here before you spooked them off. You're mad because we woke you up from your nap. I point my finger at her. So she tilts her head arrogantly. I'm still the one that's right. I just sigh at her attitude. Well, time for the famous secret technique to deal with women. Change the topic. Preferably to something they love or hate. Wait. Now that I'm here, I have always been curious. What's up with you and Drake? As soon as she heard the name Drake, her aura exploded, causing cracks in the earth. Don't say that name. When I get my hands on that red delinquent, I'll rip his soul from his sacred gear. He had the gall to ask for some weapons from me as a favor, and then he went ahead and reaped them. Those were one of a kind. She started an angry rant. When Drake asked for weapons from her, He was only a bit stronger. His rivalry with Albion. They both pushed each other to become stronger, earning them the title two heavenly dragons or dragon emperors. Tiamat was actually near that level. Beyond ultimate class. The transcended realm. If I'm reading her energy levels right. She only needs a push to step in there. You are almost there, aren't you? Beyond ultimate class. That one step that separates the strong from the beyond. You are one step away from reaching the level where Albion and Drake were. Take the bait. Come on. Take the bait. She growls at me. Yes, I could hear her frustration. How many years? How many centuries has she spent trying to break through? If I give her a push, she just might break through. Then she will owe me and I will have a strong ally to ask for help if needed. A very strong ally. And I need a lot of those. Prepare yourself, Tiamat. Elle will give you the push that you need. Let's hope that both of us get to survive this. Power starts to roll of her. She turns back into her dragon form as a giant stupidly powerful barrier surrounds both of us. I don't know why you are doing this, but I suggest you go at full strength from the start. The arrogance in her voice was easy to pick up on. But with her level of strength, she has the right to be arrogant. But then again, the same applies to me. My aura explodes, showing my mid-ultimate class power. But I was still weaker than her. Is that the best you can do? She sighed with disappointment. She probably has fought opponents on her level many times. Considering she still hasn't broken through, she doesn't have a lot of hope for this. Balance breaker. An ordinary katana with a violet-colored handle appeared in my hand. Scatter. Senbonzakura. The sword glowed pink before it started to scatter from the tip into many sakura petals. Are those supposed to do anything? Tiamat says mockingly, but I could see that her eyes were watching the sakura petals carefully. I waved both my hands and the petals separated into several tendrils and attacked Tiamat. They enter the gaps in her scales and cut through. Having a dragon-slaying element really increased the damage of the swords. She roars in pain before her scales start to heat up. Blue fire surrounds her, before receding a bit and only staying on the top of the scales. Like blazing armor. She opens her mouth as blue flames gather there and she roared at me. I quickly swung my arms as pink blossoms form a barrier in front of me, splitting the fire attack in half as it went past me. I attacked her at the same time, but I barely did any damage. Her flames protected her. What are you going to do now, little devil? You said you will help me break through. Looks like you are the one in need of help, she says mockingly. Sigh, I knew I couldn't do anything with just this. I gather the blossoms back into a sword before pointing the sword downward. What is the meaning of this? Tiamat growled, she probably thinks I gave up. I let go of the sword. But instead of stabbing into the ground, it sunk into it. Bang kai. 2 rows of thousands of giant blades rose up from the ground behind me. Each of them was at least a meter wide and they were taller than Tiamat. Senbonzakura Kage Yoshi, vibrant display of 1,000 cherry blossoms. The blades scattered into millions of little cherry blossoms. They surrounded us, forming a pink field. Cherry blossoms as far as the eye could see. As I said, Tiamat, I hope both of us survive this. Number. A/N. The fight will end here. I think I like how it's a mystery ending. Many of you can guess the fight. But I want to keep this mystery vibe that has been going on about Kiba. At least for a little while. Since once the secret is out, it will be fight after fight. The fight was a calculated risk. Even if he was bluffing about dying. Teleport sword. He can forcefully teleport himself out of anything if things get well near fatal. Senbonzakura/1000 Cherry Blossoms. Chapter 19, Student Council. Where is Kiba? Tiamat woke up and she sounds pissed. Rias said as she, Kendo and Konako were looking for Kiba. Konako was at the front trying to sniff him out. I don't know, Rias, we can't find him. Kendo was clearly worried about him. Rias stomped the ground. When I get my hands on him I'll... He is over there, Konako interrupted her. All of them quickly find Kiba, together with a sword wolf laying on the ground. Kiba. Kiba-kun. Kiba-san. Rias, Kendo, and Konako rushed at him, checking his wounds. He had numerous injuries all over him. Hey! I got my familiar. Say hello to Dukalien, Kiba said with a smile, as blood was pouring out from him. Grrrrrrr, fuck you, the sword wolf growled weakly. He was so injured that he couldn't move at all. There was a tattoo under his fur that no one could notice. It compressed and hid his strength. To everyone else, he appeared at the beginning stages of mid-class. While I was fighting the wolf, we accidentally entered Tiamat's territory. She beat the shit out of us for waking her up, and threw us away. Kiba winced from the pain. Rias sighed, "You two idiots are lucky that's all she did. Come on. We have to get you patched up. We will teleport back right away." All of them gathered in one place as they teleport back to the Occult Research Club. Tiamat's cave. Tiamat in her dragon form was bloody and lying on the ground in her cave. She had slash marks and stab injuries all over her body. But strangely they were different shapes and sizes. Blood was pooling down beneath her. Tiamat tried to heal only to win CE. The anti-dragon aura still left on her wounds slowed down the process. She then started to giggle. A giant dragon was giggling. If anyone was there they would be frozen from fear. That was the most fun I have had in centuries. And I finally broke through. I can't believe it. I broke through. I almost died though, but it was worth it. After trying for centuries. One young devil was the one to do it. I can't wait to see you again, Isaiah. You are the first to make me feel so alive. We have to finish what we started. I want to face that drive of yours again. I will wait for as long as it takes. And if you don't come back, I'll come to you. Tiamat pulled herself up despite the pain and spread her wings. She flared her aura, knocking out all the monsters around her. Tiamat has entered the transcended realm. As did Drake and Albion. Including a few evil dragons like Krom Kruok, Aida, and Apophis. She was no longer a dragon king. She is qualified to be a dragon empress. The Chaos Dragon Empress. A/N might delete or change this part. Only Drake and Albion were called Dragon Emperors. BTWMC has no idea about Tiamat. Next week. Sana and Tsubaki called me to the student council room. Wonder what this about. Sana, Tsubaki. Good to see you, I say as I enter the room. Hello Kiba. Tsubaki waves at me. She still has a crush on me. But I'm not interested in a serious relationship. And getting together with her even casually will result in unnecessary drama. I heard you met the Chaos Dragon King. How did that go? Sana smiled sweetly. But I know she was fishing for information. I chuckle as I sit in front of the desk. She beat the crap out of me. How did you think it went? You should be lucky she was in a good mood and decided to spare you. Since you woke her up, she decided to spread her wings, so to speak. I know, because she has been causing all sorts of damage. Some idiot devil decided to try and force her in his peerage. Sana sighed as she rubbed her eyes. Well, I'm guessing that went well. I grin as I imagine the sight. She crippled the devil, and when he ran away and she chased him down all the way to his home. My sister and Ajilka were there to stop her from killing off another pillar house. She deadpanned. That's Tiamat all right. That doesn't explain why you're so tired. I point at her. Apparently Tiamat has gotten a lot stronger all of a sudden. That's probably why she was in such a good mood and decided to let you live. Since you didn't enter her territory intentionally. But now that she is stronger, she asked for some materials in return for her dropping the matter. And since I am already helping my sister with the paperwork, I also helped out. It was a pain, because it happened so suddenly. Good. I hope Tiamat bleed them dry. But now that she mentioned it, she does have slight dark circles around her eyes from the lack of sleep. Doesn't Tiamat like work for Ajilka? I ask her. I don't know a lot about their relationship. It's Lord Beelzebub, Kiba-san. And not exactly. Tiamat became a referee for rating games because of a debt she owed to Lord Beelzebub. But this only applies when one of the top 10 on the rating game list is having a match. She is there to stop the match if necessary. And that's only for about 200 more years. And since this is a separate matter, we accepted. Losing a pillar would harm the reputation of the current government. Meaning the current 4 Satans. And with the old Satan faction being the bloodthirsty maniacs they are, they definitely won't miss an opportunity like this. That's definitely a fuckfest. But it has nothing to do with me. So. Not my problem. Hakuna Matata and all that. Are you up for a quick game? Sana pointed at her chessboard, which was always on her desk. I don't know what's her play. But I'll bite. Sure. I haven't played in a while. She waved her hand and the pieces arranged themselves on the board. She starts the game. So are you still doing that insane training regime of yours? Sana asks casually. Of course. I need to get stronger. The stronger you are, the better your life will be. That's the sort of world we live in. How about you? Are you in your peerage training? She is really good at this. Yes, we are. But not as much as you do. I prefer to train my mind. Tactics are important in battle. That's one of the reasons why I love chess so much. Sana smiles slightly. I take my eyes off the board and look at her. Chess is a game where you have all the information at all times. That doesn't apply to battle or war. In battle, you never know all the information. One mistake can be deadly. Sana escaped her engagement with chess. She should practice chess less and study more real-life war tactics, while training and raising her strength. So that if the day comes when her father will want to marry her off to another dude despite the chess rule, she can just beat the shit out of him and anyone who wants to force her. Sana takes a good look at me. I see. So what would you suggest? More battle and war tactics. More training. Everything else will come with experience. At least that's what I was told. Sana kept quiet and continued to play. My phone buzzes. 3 buzzes. Business call. Gotta go. I move one more chess piece. Well, I'll be seeing you around. Sana, Tsubaki. I nod at both of them. Stood up and walked out of the room. You didn't even finish the game. Tsubaki mumbled as she looked at the door. Sana. She turned to her kind only to find her staring at the chessboard with disbelief written all over her face. Sana, what's wrong? Tsubaki was quickly getting worried. 10. Sana mumbled. 10 what? Tsubaki tilted her head slightly. She was getting confused. Checkmate in 10 moves. Sana was still looking at the board. Like trying to break some sort of illusion. What? Tsubaki quickly turned to the board and saw Kiba's side. It really was checkmate. Sana. The engagement. Tsubaki said unsurely. No. The game wasn't called. Or recorded. Plus Kiba stood up in the middle. He would have won if he just said it was his win. I know he is aware of my engagement and the chess rules. This means he isn't planning on going with the engagement. He just wanted to show that he can beat me. It's frustrating. It feels like I'm being looked down upon. Well, at least you won't have to marry him. Tsubaki was happy and sad at the same time. Sana wouldn't be marrying Kiba. But if she did marry him, it was more than likely that Tsubaki would join them in bed sometimes. Damn it, brain. Make up your mind, Tsubaki screamed internally. Well, he inst the worst match for me, Sana mused with a smile as she watched Tsubaki freeze in place. Sana started to laugh and Tsubaki pouted, realizing that she was being teased. Number A/N word count 1550. Okay, first. I plan to end the fight, last chap. I don't think some people realized that. Reason, I wanted to keep his power and skills a secret for a bit longer. Because once he shows his power, which is going to pretty soon, it's going to be fight, after fight, after fight. So I didn't see the point in rushing his reveal. BTW, I used Senbon Sakura because it's one of the most iconic swords. Appearance-wise, I made the cover like it, for God's sake. But there will be other swords. Just wait for them. MC will carry on Isaiah's name. I was planning to give him another name, since I didn't like how Isaiah meant God is salvation. And the MC is very anti-church and has a lot of enemies with the church. But then I realized that Elijah, a name I learned from the Vampire Diaries and Originals, means my God is Yahweh. And that dude like killed everyone who was a possible threat to his family. I started thinking it would be funny as hell to keep his name to Isaiah. Like I am God and I shall bring salvation. By just wiping out half the church and the Pope XD. Crom Kruik is even stronger than Drake and Albion. He got to that level by training in the human world and underworld. Chapter 20, Unexpected Attack. Another night out. Another church on the list finished. I got lucky and found some of the people on my list. But it was mostly the grunts. Most of the low-level thugs involved with the Holy Sword Project are dead. They were surprisingly easy to find as they were excommunicated. Those excommunicated members hang out in old and worn-down churches. The church still kept a lookout for them, but didn't engage them. The hope was that these excommunicated members could still kill a few devils or their contracted magicians before they die. I have sneaked into many of them. The good ones. The rare ones. I leave alone after finding where they keep all their supernatural documents. Tonight was quite good. I got a lot of good info. There is a meeting next weekend. A lot of excommunicated members will gather there. They meet up once in a while when they need to give out information to a big group of people. This is good news for me. I can clear out a lot of people this way. Even if they are not on my list, I'll still kill them all. I can't leave any survivors. If I get to find out before I'm strong enough, I'm screwed. Azazel was one thing. He regularly breaks the rules and does give a damn. I mean, we are talking about the dude who fell out of heaven because he wanted to see Gabriel's tits. So I'm not really worried about him. Next week, I use the same tactic I have always done. Merge with the shadows and slowly enter the church. I go into one of the blind spots. Good evening, brothers. As you know, this meeting will be happening in many locations at the same time. Damn. They made countermeasures against me. This is to prevent a full-on attack. We have suffered many losses over the last few months. Each time a red pentagram was left at the scene. Tensions between us and the 5 clans are rising by the day. And we don't know for sure if they are the ones responsible. They are denying it, but at the same time are happy for our misfortune. That's just wow. Instead of completely stopping any doubt about this and save face across the supernatural world, these idiots are making things worse for them. I mean, they are being framed for an attack on a worldwide faction. A weak one. But still, what do? They laugh in their face. Idiots. But it helps hide my actions, so I'm totally fine with that. Onmagies always were a prideful bunch. And they constantly make stupid decisions. Another main point. We have begun scouting out the location for Excalibur fragments. We have run into some problems right away. This mission will take time and preparation. It doesn't help that half of the swords are constantly on the move. So we are focusing on the ones that have no current wielder. The head priest finished his point and the other members started talking among each other, raising ideas on how to accomplish this. Such as ambushing one of the wielders while they are on a mission. What the fuck? Did they plan that thing this early? I thought it was a desperate move made by Kuoh. But apparently, they started planning it a year ahead. Now that I think about it, it does make sense. There are only 6 swords in the church's possession. It's obvious that some of them are well protected. They must have spies inside the church. What kind of dumbass sends 2 Excalibur fragments straight to the enemy? Irina and Zenovia's situation always seemed off. So maybe some of the corrupt church members pulled some strings to make it happen. Well, I've heard enough. I can't exactly kill this many with just regular weapons. I mean, I can. But it's going to take a while. And since I'm trying to be quick, I'm going to have to use my gear. Which is fine by me. I'll just have to torch the place, later on, to get rid of any magical traces. I slowly exit the church. Just so they have a delayed reaction when I use sword birth. They will definitely feel my demonic energy. Sword birth. I use the shadow sword and stab it in the ground. Inside the church. All of the priests turn to the front of the church. Intruder. Quickly. Get him. Rumble. What that sound? A second later. Asterisk crack, boom. Boom asterisk. Ah. No. Countless swords rose up from the ground and impaled the priests. None of them could react fast enough to save themselves. Just about what you would expect from low-level grunts. Even those that could dodge the first few swords were impaled by the rest. Nice. No one got away. It would have been a pain to chase them down. Flap. I heard some noise behind me and quickly turned around to block the incoming attack. Ding. My shadow sword collided with a light spear, making it a bit weaker. Well, well. So you are the one messing up our plans. The fallen angel looked down on me. He was dressed in a greyish trench coat. He had black hair and dark blue eyes. 2 more fallen appeared behind me. One on the left side, the other on the right. You won't be escaping, little devil, the one in front of me mocked. Do these delusional fucks really think they can take me on? I mean, I am excluding a mid-class aura. And all 3 of them are mid-class. But anyone with a brain can tell that I'm suppressing my power. Mana suppression only works when you are not in combat. When you use any of your magic or sacred gear. Ripples start to appear in your aura, breaking the illusion. Anyone who calls himself a decent fighter should be able to sense these ripples. How disappointing. I don't even need to use my gear against these guys. Get him. The one in the front yelled out as he pushed with his light spear, hoping to keep me in place. The other two dashed, raising their light spears, aiming for my back. When they arrived near me, I made my move. Toki. Mana enhancement. My body swelled with energy. I let go of my sword and grabbed the light spear of the one in front of me with my bare hands. What? I pulled his spear and stabbed the one on my left behind me. Grabbed his spear and stabbed the one on the right, who tried to stop his momentum but was still speared through. The one on the front saw that he had no choice and took to the air, hoping to escape. I grabbed the last remaining spear and threw it before it dissipated. I hit the fallen in the air, piercing his chest, making a big hole. Well, that was easy. When the difference is this much, I don't know what else was I expecting. Well, time to torch the place. So you are the one killing the excommunicated priests. I knew the devils were involved. I hear a voice from above. A man was sitting on the church, right below the cross. He had shoulder-length blonde hair and was wearing white robes. But they were the kind Roman nobility used to wear. Greetings. My name is Armaros, he said with a small smile. That name. So he is one of Uriel's commanders. Score. I can't believe one of them showed up in front of me. Lucky. I was in the area and I thought it would be a good idea to check up on their secret meeting. And take care of them if any cross the line. I didn't expect to find you. Looks like luck is on my side. On the contrary. I believe luck is on my side. This is gonna be fun.
Thanks for listening.